Today on the show, we're taking a moment to indulge in the past and revisit our favorite nostalgic summer movies. We're going to take a look at why we feel the way we do when we watch those older summer flicks. And you're killing me, Smalls. Today, contributor Donna Ferris spoke to the cast of a movie that defines the season, The Sandlot. We found out why it still resonates today. And to close out our special show, we've got our friend Chris Witherspoon, founder and CEO of Pop Viewers. He's counting down the most nostalgic summer movie scenes of all time. Stay with us for all of that. It'll be great. To kick things off, here's a deep dive into how watching nostalgic films makes us feel, especially during the heat of summer.
Summer in itself is a great example of a trigger for nostalgia because it connotes many of the attributes that accompany nostalgia, such as longing for the carefreeness, the leisure of childhood. But when you watch something like a movie that's set at summer camp, you've got so many stimuli there that are reminding us that in our hectic, busy lives, should we not occasionally take a break?
So, either of you by any chance know how to play poker? Yeah, never played it before.
Roosevelt, how's that lanyard coming?
Horrible.
Film is a really good example of a medium that has all of the triggers for different kinds of sensory experiences, visual, auditory, such as the music in a film. And so you have all these varieties of sensory stimuli that help you to mentally transport yourself in two ways, by the way. One, when you're just remembering the past, you're transporting yourself back to that time. An interesting finding recently showed that when people just reminisce nostalgically, they even feel a little more healthy and vibrant, and they have more vitality. Why? Because when you transport yourself back, you're feeling a little bit of the feelings you felt when you were younger. Nostalgic films, especially for looking back to your beloved favorite childhood movies, those were a source of great comfort.
Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls. Dear Darla, I hate your stinking guts.
Their time! Up there! Down here, it's our time! It's our time down here!
In fact, in film, for example, we believe from the research data that there are characters in movies that serve as surrogates for us. So when you watch a film that you loved in the past, not only are you remembering when you watched it, with whom did you watch it, the conversations you had at the time, maybe you went out to the movies with friends or what have you. But in addition to that, as you watch characters in films play out their own problems and resolve them through this vicarious resolution, you feel that hope and optimism, which is a lot like the happy ending of many stories that we've seen throughout our lives, right? If you wanted to log them according to seasons of the year, for instance, summer is a great time. And what operates as a nostalgic film, it could be something like Star Wars, Episode 1, for a generation who saw that for the first time, either as children, teenagers, or young adults. And to some extent, it's transporting them not just to the film and the enjoyment of the film, but also it gives someone the ability to reflect upon what did it mean to me when I saw that as a kid, and now what would I think of it now? So sometimes when we rewatch an old film, we're comparing our understanding as full-fledged adults, or our understanding now that we've lived through so much, with what we thought when we first saw it. Also, for the elderly today, they might think back to the great summer films that were beach movies. You know, the parties on the beach and playing volleyball on the beach. When you think about transportation mentally through a film, now you have added onto it that you might transport yourself to somebody else's past or to somebody else's experience, not necessarily your own. So fiction can be enjoyed and benefited from, even in terms of nostalgia. For instance, a lot of nostalgic films incorporate within the plot or within the character lines, characters remembering back to their past.
I can still recall our last summer I still see it all. Walks along the Seine, laughing in the rain.
I was the last one to move away, but when I did, the Sandlot was still there.
And then when you watch that, then that prompts you to sort of mentally transport yourself with that character back to their past as well. So it's very rich. Film is a very rich medium.
Our thanks to Professor Christine Batchel for sharing all of her findings and insights with us, a little better understanding of why those films make us feel so good. Still to come, even more nostalgia and more fun. Donna Ferrison's chat with the Sandlot stars who played Yaya and Squints.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were going to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that. Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to our Pop Start Plus special, all about nostalgic summer movies. Now, if you're a 90s kid, you'll remember the 1993 release of a movie about a ragtag pack who loved playing ball. And it changed how we think about summer forever. Today, contributor Donna Ferrison spoke to two of the stars from The Sandlot, Chauncey Leopardi, who played Squints, and Marty York, who played Yaya. They shared the responses they still get about the movie set during a summer back in 1962.
Was the summer you filmed The Sandlot the best summer of your lives?
It was for sure the best summer of my life.
Yeah.
I don't think anything, compares to it since then. And I think we just had a blast. It was summer camp for like 2 or 3 months that we filmed over the summer, and definitely the best.
Yeah, it was pretty great. It's hard to beat. Obviously, I love my family, and I wouldn't want my wife to think that, my 11-year-old summer was the best summer of my life. But it was pretty awesome, hanging out with friends and having that experience, and then getting to share it with the rest of the world forever. It's just it's a pretty amazing thing.
This film represents the best of summer. The 4th of July celebrations, the carnival, kids playing ball, the s'mores, you name it. There's so many different elements. Why do you think The Sandlot is a film that has defined summertime for a lot of people?
It takes people back to an era of the United States where kids went outside and they played, and when the sun went down, that's when they went home.
I want you to get out into the fresh air and make some friends. Run around, scrape your knees, get dirty.
You had adventures during the day.
It'll be 30 years next year, first of all. How does that feel for you guys?
It's amazing. I mean, anytime you do a film, you never know what the results are going to be. But to still be here talking about this 30 years later, and to see it still affecting people's lives for the better is that's kind of why you're in the arts. It's the reason that you want to do. That's what you set out when you have passion about a project, is to hope that you get one that changes things forevermore. So it's a blessing, and we appreciate all the love and support that we've gotten over the years.
What were your favorite scenes to film for each of your characters?
I loved like all of the baseball stuff. Obviously, was a lot of fun. When we played the other team, it was a blast. Filming the whole chase scene, we did that for like 2 weeks. So just the dog chasing Benny and all the different stuff. That was a lot of fun as well. I think that there's like something to find that was cool about everything. And even in the treehouse stuff, that treehouse was amazing. This is when they really built sets for film still. There was no green screens or anything like that. So that was all like real craftsmanship. Somebody, a carpenter, the construction guys on set actually built those sets. So they were so cool and like so in depth, Mr. Myrtle's house. And it was a really cool time in filmmaking because you still had all of the crafts really showcasing their work. Whereas now maybe things are a little bit more reliant on computer generated software and stuff like that. So it was a cool time to kind of see them fabricate this really cool film and these really cool sets.
Obviously, my favorite scene was going over the fence to come face to face with the beast and being on that crane. And it's really cool because, back then, kids could do their own stunts, which would never happen nowadays. And just like a lot of the stuff that I didn't even see till the final picture came out, the 4th of July scene, we filmed that with just literally lights and gels that they put in front to make it look like fireworks were going off. When we filmed that, it didn't seem that iconic to me until you put Ray Charles to it, until you put the fireworks in the sky. And when we saw the final product, we were like, wow, like that really that's an amazing scene. So it's just movie magic.
God done shed his grace on thee.
What kind of memories do people tell you that they have that are related to The Sandlot? What do the fans come up to you and say?
Everybody that relates to Squints that has the glasses or I get a lot of the pictures and the photos. Sometimes as growing up, having glasses is always like something that people could be a little reserved about or feel like they get picked on a little bit. So it's cool to have that cool character that people can relate to that makes them feel like this is a superpower, not the opposite.
How do you think The Sandlot has helped empower young people to feel more included, be more inclusive, and, feel okay to embrace their differences?
It's awesome because this is a bunch of kids of all shapes, colors, and sizes. They're all different. They all have their little thing. And, the main character is a kid that's filling out a place and coming from somewhere else and really not fitting in. And it starts off with like his struggle of trying to connect with his stepfather and trying to connect with these kids in this new neighborhood. And it takes a guy like Benny, who is obviously a very strong character and an amazing baseball player and a total star, to just say, leave him alone. We need an extra guy, and this guy's gonna be it, So it's about including people regardless of, what the masses feel. So I think it has a lot to say about, real American values, because that's what America is. It's a melting pot of different cultures and different people that find common ground to create a better life for themselves.
Really cool to hear from those two. We're going to share more from them after the break, including what it was like to film that famous pool scene featuring Squints and Wendy Peppercorn.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better?
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to our special episode of Pop Start Plus. Let's pick back up with Donna Ferrison's conversation with two stars from The Sandlot, Marty York and Chauncey Leopardi, who spoke about that very pivotal pool scene and the impact it's had on young kids today.
Chauncey, you were talking about, Wendy Peppercorn and that pool scene, which is so iconic when your character almost drowns and then gets saved by the lifeguard that everyone has a crush on. What do you remember from shooting that scene?
God, he looks like a dead fish.
It was really cold. It was a really hot summer, but during the time that we shot the pool scene, it had dipped down into like the 70s, and we were shooting early mornings for the light, and it was freezing cold. So in a lot of those scenes, you can see us like shivering in the pool. I know it was like a big anticipation for me leading up to that. I kept asking the director, is today the day? Is today the day? You know what I mean? It was my first kissing scene, so
Wow.
Pretty exciting.
That is exciting. That's amazing. Just as we talked about earlier too, so much that has happened or the emotions that are evoked from The Sandlot translate into real life as well. On the Today Show, Hoda recently interviewed the three boys who had saved the dad who became unconscious underwater in their pool. It's an amazing story. They performed CPR on him, saved his life, and they credited learning CPR through watching The Sandlot and through that specific scene.
Now, who took a CPR class? Raise your hand. Nobody? But you did know, because what was one of your favorite movies?
The Sandlot.
What was your reaction to that news?
That's just incredible. Here we are 30 years later, and something that someone saw that we did 30 years ago saved their father's life. I mean, it makes you want to tear up because it's such a beautiful thing. And, wherever we get the information from, it's great, So to be the force that helped them do that for their father, I'll never forget it.
Every time I come across a fan of The Sandlot, they always talk about it in a way that, they feel so comforted and cozy when watching it. It brings them back to a different time. Why do you think people feel so comforted when watching The Sandlot?
It's timeless. The way David Mickey Evans, the writer and director, shot it, he told the DP, Tony Richmond, he told him, I want it to look like Kodak chromatic film. So that's like an old, very pop arty type of film from the 60s. And he said, I want it to look like that. And I think because of the setting, had he have done it in the 90s when we shot it and placed it present day, I don't think it would have lasted and stood the test of time. It's like a Bel Air. It's like a 57 Chevy, It's something that the lines on it are going to be clean forever. And no matter what, you're always going to get a nostalgic feeling when you go see these old cars at these car shows, and just the storied time in American history. And because it's just frozen in time, I think that it stands the test of time, because it is a time capsule, like Marty said. It takes you to a happy place where, good or bad, we felt like everything was a little bit simpler.
Thank you to Marty and Chauncey for hanging out with us. Still to come, we've queued up some of the most nostalgic summer movie scenes of all time. Do we got any Parent Trap fans out there? Stick with us.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When when you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? Hey, Miss Lester, who's this?
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. Mel, do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks. It's not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Welcome back to our special episode of Pop Start Plus. We are diving into everything you need to know about nostalgic summer movies. And who better to guide us along than Chris Witherspoon? He is the founder and CEO of Pop Viewers, and he's about to take us on a lovely trip down memory lane with some of the most nostalgic summer movie scenes ever.
Is there anything that beats the warm weather, the long sun-filled days and fun that comes with summertime? Whether you went to camp or hung out by the pool, spent time with family and friends, or had 7 jobs like me, summer was always filled with terrific memories of growing up. Unfortunately, we'll never be kids again, but luckily, we'll always have movies to turn to that transport us back to those days, no matter what decade you grew up in. Let's count down as we watch some of the best nostalgic summer movie scenes of all time. First up, Weekend at Bernie's. It's an absolute classic. Now grab your sunblock and flip-flops because you'll be wanting to enjoy a weekend at the beach after watching this one. In it, Jonathan Silverman and Andrew McCarthy play friends who are invited for a weekend at their boss's opulent beach house. Lots of shenanigans ensue that ultimately lead to their boss, Bernie's, death. But to avoid ruining their weekend, Richard and Larry pretend he's still alive. Let's take a look at the clip.
You're probably right.
Get it together, Bernie.
Here we go, sugar. Move it over a little bit, okay, baby?
I don't understand why we have to move him, Rich. Oh, don't ask me any questions, Larry. Just move him. Oh.
Here we go.
Ready? I can't believe I'm touching a dead body.
Here's your boss. Come on. Let's go. Whoa.
Oh, Bernie.
Oh, what a kidder, huh?
Oh, Bernie,
you're always darling. Come on.
That's what you call some dead weight.
Come on, let's go. Come on, he's crazy. Here we go.
Wait, is there an award for playing the best dead guy? If so, Terry Kaiser deserves it. If you're looking to laugh like there's no tomorrow, add this film to your summer watch list. Next up, one of almost everyone's favorites, The Notebook. Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams killed these roles as lovers who were always meant to be together. Who could forget the moment when Noah and Allie reunited after 7 years apart? Did he just pick that boat up with his bare hands? I think he did.
It wasn't over for me. I waited for you for 7 years. Now it's too late.
I wrote you 365 letters. I wrote you every day for a year.
You wrote me?
Yes. It wasn't over. It still isn't over.
Ooh. That's a kiss right there. Ooh. Talk about a hot girl summer. Even all that rain couldn't cool those two down. On to another fun one, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Now, if you watch this as a teen, then you got tons of ideas of how to spend the perfect day playing hooky. Matthew Broderick stars, of course, as Ferris Bueller, and the movie starts a month before Ferris's high school graduation. Ferris ends up at a museum, a baseball game, a fancy restaurant, you name it. One of the most hilarious moments was when his teacher realizes he's missing from class. Let's watch this clip.
Anderson.
Here.
Bueller. Bueller. Bueller.
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid is going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night.
Now she can lie.
Pretty serious.
That's a good lie.
Thank you, Simone.
No problem whatsoever.
Fry.
Oh my God. Ben Stein's boring, monotone delivery gets me every time. And P.S., find yourself a coworker that will be your alias next time you want to ditch work on a summer Friday. Everybody needs one of those. Now, Clueless is one of those timeless movies following a group of popular high school friends. If you didn't know, it's a modernization of Jane Austen's Emma, and it's got an amazing cast. Alicia Silverstone and Paul Rudd, and of course, the late, great Brittany Murphy. Just to name a few. Check out this scene where Cher, played by Silverstone, makes the case for not participating in PE class.
Earth to Cher! Come in, Cher! Oh my God.
Miss Stoger, I would just like to say that physical education in this school is a disgrace. I mean, standing in
gym
line for
outfits.
40 minutes is hardly
Different
aerobically
outfits.
effective. I doubt I've worked off the calories in a stick of carefree gum.
Come on, Cher. I feel like in this scene, Cher could have just said, as if, and been done with it. Clueless does take place throughout all 4 seasons, but real talk, those Beverly Hills vibes will have you feeling like you're on vacation. Another fun summer love story with lots of dancing. You guessed it, Dirty Dancing. Jennifer Grey and Patrick Swayze play Baby and Johnny, and the two fall in love after being paired as dance partners. Now, one of the most iconic movie lines ever came from the scene where Johnny proclaims his love for Baby before the movie's final epic dance performance. Let's watch.
Nobody puts Baby in a corner.
Tell him.
Sorry about the disruption, folks. But I always do the last dance of the season. This year, somebody told me not to. So I'm gonna do my kind of dancing with a great partner.
Sit down.
He's not only a terrific dancer,
Dirty Dance.
somebody who's taught me that there are people willing to stand up for other people no matter what it costs them.
The best part's yet to come. I am declaring it now. Nobody puts Baby in the corner is one of the most iconic movie lines of all time. Try to tell me it's not. Alas, if only all of our summers could end with a sultry summer dance routine. And next up, one of my favorites, Poetic Justice. Janet Jackson, Regina King, and Tupac Shakur gave legendary performances in this film. They play friends who road trip to Oakland, California, and basically fall in love along the way. Poetic Justice is another one of those films that will definitely have you crying and laughing, but I love this scene where the friends crashed a random family barbecue. Let's take a look.
I don't think so.
My cousin. Look at my family over here. My cousins. What's up, cousin? How you doing, boy? Cousin. What's up, cousin? What's up? I ain't seen you and I don't know where. Yeah.
Janet Jackson knows how to give a good stank face, and sometimes all you gotta say is cousin. And you guys, I'm pleading the fifth on if I've ever crashed a barbecue for a burger. Please don't judge me. And last, but certainly not least, I doubt you've ever gone a summer without watching this one. The Parent Trap. The remake stars Lindsay Lohan and tells the story of twin sisters who meet and realize they are really sisters at summer camp. The moment they see each other and realize how much they look alike is priceless. Let's take a look. A new camp champ, come on. Those freckles get me every time.
Why is everyone staring?
Do we have Kleenex handy?
See what?
Please? I need them. This part gets me every time.
Resemblance between you and me?
Oh my God, every time that movie gets me. You know, I watched this movie so many times as a kid, and you couldn't tell me Lindsay Lohan didn't have a twin sister in real life. It's definitely one to add to the rotation, y'all. Okay, we just gave you a taste of a few surefire summer flicks. Now I know we outside again, but with this summer heat, nothing beats a good old movie night. We hope you have a blast watching or rewatching some of our favorite picks.
So many great recommendations. Our thanks to Chris for bringing them to us and for giving us all a boost with your terrific reactions. We should mention you can download the Pop Viewers app from the App Store. That was our Pop Start Plus Nostalgic Summer Movie Special here on Today All Day. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you had as much fun as we did revisiting some of our favorite films from the past. It's been a pleasure to bring them to you. Have a great day.
I just really want to tell everybody out there how thankful I am for
Kevin Ford expressing his gratitude online after an unexpected outpouring of generous Americans. It all began last week when a video of him receiving a gift bag for his service went viral.
A movie ticket, thank you very much. And I also got a bag of Reese's.
The video has been viewed now more than 2 million times on social media. The 54-year-old has worked at the Las Vegas International Airport under HMS Host, a food service company for restaurants like Burger King and Cinnabon, for nearly 3 decades. Ford says in all those years, he has never missed a scheduled shift, not one.
This is very nice. From Starbucks, thank you guys.
In the video originally posted on Ford's Instagram account, he goes through each item, which includes a tumbler, candy, pens, and a movie ticket. Ford says in the video he is grateful for it all, but social media called for more. One Instagram user writing, after 27 years of working, that's all he got? Another person commenting, Kevin, you are a treasure and a special person. We reached out to HMS Host for a response, and the company said, quote, this recognition of Mr. Ford by another employee captures the essence of our culture of appreciation, caring, and inclusion, and reflects the best of our company, our people. Mr. Ford is a valued associate and member of an honored group of employees that have worked for us for many years. The company also told Today Ford got that gift because he is an exemplary employee. One of Ford's daughters, Serena, created a GoFundMe account for him. On it, she describes how her single dad worked hard to support her and her siblings. She writes, in no way are we asking for money or is he expecting any money, but if anyone feels like blessing him, he would love to visit his grandchildren. Less than a week later, more than $170,000 was raised, even a $5,000 donation from actor David Spade. Ford, blown away by the attention, posted a thank you video.
I love y'all. I gotta get out of here before I start crying. Just really means so much to me.
Oh, and here he is, all the way from Las Vegas, missing a day of work for the first time. Kevin, good morning. It's good to have you here.
Very good to be here.
What does it feel like to be in this moment?
It's like a dream, a dream come true that, nobody could even think of this, you know. So it's just overwhelming, especially all the support I'm receiving every day. So it's just awesome.
Kevin, I think a lot of folks, they were just astonished when they heard that you had not missed a shift in 27 years. How do you show up every day for nearly 3 decades?
I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe I'm a robot. I don't know how I did it. It's just something, you just work and you got to feed these kids and put them through school. So I just never even thought of missing a day. So.
Let's clear one thing up, because one of the reasons this got so much notice is because a coworker gave you a present for 27 years, and then the internet said, "Is that it?" But you were happy with the present that you got. You weren't looking for recognition or anything more.
No. The manager brought me some a present, and they said, "This is, for your 27th year anniversary," and I loved it. I just, and then I said, let's do a little shout out video for it and stuff. And I was just grateful to have it. I'm still grateful. I got that cup in my room. So.
And then the internet got involved and the outpouring came.
Kevin, why do you think your story, it resonated with so many people? Why do you think there were so many people that saw this video and they said, you know what, I want to message that guy, or I want to give to this GoFundMe campaign?
I think it's just have to do with the fact that people love to see somebody grateful for something and happy for the little things, which I am. I've been through a lot. Everybody's been through a lot. So I look toward the smaller things in life, and you know, I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for every day I wake up that I could go to work, that I could be a good citizen, be a good American, and just, you know, do my part. So I'm just grateful for everything I get.
You're a great example for the world, but also for your kids and grandkids who, by the way, are here. One of the reasons why that your daughter thought they could get a couple dollars coming in was for a reunion, and so you knew they were coming, but this is the first time you've seen them in years. Hi, we've got your daughter Serena and your granddaughter Charlotte and Clairlyn and your grandson Javon.
Hey, Javon. Seen you guys in so long. Hey.
Serena.
Oh, wow.
Serena, nice to meet you.
Hi, guys.
What
Come
a
on in, let's
beautiful
gather
family.
around. Here, sit down, Kevin, and we get all the kids around you. Here's your daughter.
You want to sit, buddy? You can sit. Sit. Absolutely. Oh,
See you,
wow.
Kevin.
4 years it's been, right?
Yeah, I
Long
haven't
time.
seen
Come
them.
on,
No, I
guys.
haven't touched my grandchildren. Hey, baby girl.
I know, look at these sweet faces.
Oh,
Serena, what does this moment mean?
It's a lot to take in, honestly. Means a lot. Sorry, sorry. Means a lot to us. I mean, it's been a lot.
Serena, you were the one that started the GoFundMe page, and at last check it was at about 170,000, and it'll probably go even higher after this.
Yeah.
Why did you think, you know what, my dad deserves more than just this recognition?
My dad deserves the world.
Yeah.
To me, in my opinion, my dad gave me the world. My dad made me the person that I am. So, I love my dad more than I can ever put into words, and I didn't have high expectations when I posted it. Honestly, I mean, the original goal was $200, so
a plane ticket.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I didn't know, but it definitely exceeded expectations.
Are you guys proud of your grandpa? Javon, what lesson do you learn from him and his example?
Don't be greedy.
Yeah.
Don't be greedy.
Yeah, be grateful for what you have. Kevin, I know you were overwhelmed before we brought in these adorable grandkids of yours.
Yeah, I just can't believe this. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I just want to tell everybody out there, thank you for every cent, even just the thought of watching the video or just having a reason to smile. I want to thank everybody. There's been donations from Australia and UK, all around the world. I just want to say thank you to everybody. It's just a dream come true. It's just a whirlwind of love, and that's all I want everybody just to know. Spread the love, because we need it. Every day we need it.
Yes, we do.
Thank you for letting us bask in that love for a little moment and share this moment with you, and I hope you guys could go spend some time and have a good day in New York and have some fun.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Serena. Great job. Kevin, great to meet you. Kids?
Thanks for the lessons.
You did
Kevin.
awesome.
Thanks for the lessons.
You look very comfortable in this seat. You could do this job, you know?
I'm pretty comfortable.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
You open the door for so many people. I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feel like Christmas or my birthday or something.
Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better?
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feel like Christmas or my birthday or something.
We are bringing back our series, How to Adult, a refresher course for our daily lives.
And we're going to kick it off by talking about how we can feel happier and less stressed.
We brought in psychotherapist Nira Feliciano. She's the author of This Book Won't Make You Happy. It's a great title for a book.
Font, though.
She's here to share how we can all find a bit more contentment. So good you're so happy you're in. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So let's start here. I mean, content and happy, you kind of hear them and they sort of sound the same, but you maintain that they are different. How so?
They are different, and the title is a little tricky because the book is going to make you happy, but it's a different kind of happiness. We're told in this world that in order to be happy, we need to do more, have more, and be more. And that definition and the pursuit of that happiness is what's stressing a lot of us out. And contentment is more subtle, but it is powerful and sustainable, especially during times of challenge and uncertainty. It's more about appreciation type of happiness.
Appreciating what you have.
That's right.
So we should strive for contentment, not necessarily happiness.
Well, we can have both. And I think contentment recognizes that there are goals that we want to pursue, but we want to balance that by looking at the good, the joy every day that we can find in the journey, not just myopically focusing on that goalpost.
And I feel like so often you have those goals. You know, you want the new house, you want the new job, but then you get the new house and you're like, okay, now I want to redo the whole house. And then by the time you redo the whole thing, you're like, okay, I want another house. Is that kind of the problem? You're always striving and never really appreciating the moment?
That's absolutely right. That's actually called the arrival fallacy. It's that statement that when I get fill in the blank, then I will be happy, whether it's the new house or the new job or the partner. But we don't always recognize that when we get there, there are challenges. And that type of happiness wears off. So we might find the partner and then realize they snore like a boar, or get the promotion and then there's longer work hours and less leisure time. Or you go on vacation, you rent this beautiful Airbnb that has the view of the ocean, but there are roosters next door. So your entire family's up at 5 a.m. and that did happen to us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you write about contentment.
It seemed fairly specific.
Yes.
And your husband clearly snores now.
So, you didn't hear that from me.
Well, when you talk about contentment, which sounds like something that's more sustainable and longer lasting, but there can be disruptors in that contentment, especially there are people who may not be, whether consciously or unconsciously, trying to disrupt your contentment. How do you deal with that?
That's right. You know, contentment, that's the beauty of contentment. It lies in yourself. You have the power to control it. It is not passive. And that is the difference between complacency and contentment. Complacency is kind of this passive approach to life. I don't want more. I'm kind of just going through the motions.
You're settling.
That's right, you're settling. But contentment, you actually have the power to control your emotions and your moods. And the practices I wrote about in the book literally rewire your brain so we're more attuned to recognizing the good in the everyday along the journey.
What are some things, perhaps even small things, that we can do to find contentment every day in our lives?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's start off with one easy one, gratitude. You know, gratitude sounds like a really nice thing to do, but it is powerful. It's not only emotionally transforming, it's physically transforming. We have research to show that cardiac patients who experience heart failure, those who kept gratitude journals 8 weeks later showed lower signs of inflammation than those who didn't. So these aren't just nice things to do, they're transforming. And just thinking about 3 things a day that makes you feel grateful can begin that process to experience those mood elevating benefits, a release of dopamine, which helps with motivation and also elevates your mood. But if you write those things down, you experience those benefits even weeks later.
So it's okay to have goals. You know, you should strive for something, but kind of appreciate the road that it takes to get there.
That's right. That's right. And so often when we get to the goalpost moves. right? Because we're looking for that next thing. And we don't even have time to sit in that moment and appreciate it. But we can even find that fulfillment, that satisfaction in between the goalposts. Because most of our life is actually lived in between hitting those goals.
Yeah, we could sit here and talk to you for like 2 hours.
That's great advice. Thank you.
Come back. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that. Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feel like Christmas or my birthday or something.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning.
Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
On a windswept day in southeast Missouri, this reporter and a man from here play catch. Both are aware that for grown-ups, this simple activity brings back memories. For Dan Bryan, they are of his son, Ethan.
How would you describe his relationship with baseball?
Oh, it was definitely his love. He wanted to be the best that he could be. He wanted to play on the field at whatever cost. So if it meant learning every position, that's what he was going to do.
Ethan was killed in a car crash when he was 16 years old, a high school sophomore, already on the varsity baseball team.
What did that do to you?
I was in a really dark place for quite a while. I knew I was facing depression. It was a very hard time.
Dan had regrets, days of would-haves, should-haves.
I think a lot of times we spend too much time kind of putting it on autopilot in life. But I really wish I would have soaked in a little more every day.
Lost in the vacuum of grief, months went by. One day, Dan's eyes landed on a book someone slipped to him after Ethan's memorial service. The title, A Year of Playing Catch. The author, with the same name as Ethan, used catch as a spiritual odyssey. Dan was inspired.
When you first set out to find somebody to play catch with, that first time, what was the response?
Absolutely. Because...
And who was it?
My first catch was with Tyson Price. He was the boy that was in the car with Ethan. He had survived the accident. And Ethan and Tyson were best friends.
I wonder if he needed that catch almost as much as you did.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And he's asked me to catch any time.
Tyson remembers it well.
I think to both of us, it was something that was more of like a healing process, and it's turned into something that's huge, and it's healed. I think it's helped so many other people.
Best friend Tyson and Caden Merrill were Ethan's teammates on the baseball team and fishing buddies.
Somehow, if you're having a bad day, he'd always pick you up, and
just a good guy. He was the true definition of a friend.
Gone now nearly 2 years, Ethan's presence is still very much felt.
There hasn't been a single game that ever since that I haven't gone into thinking to myself that I'm playing this game not only for myself or my team, but I'm also playing it for Ethan. I just know that he's with me no matter what I'm doing.
And by Ethan's coach.
The way Dan's handled it, there's no doubt in my mind that it's helped our community heal, it's helped his classmates heal, his teammates heal.
And his elementary school friends.
He always had his head out high on everything. Just joyous all the time. Pick you up when you're down. Good team player. Positive, humble.
By inspiring those on the other end of Dan's catches to open up about their woes, after a few throws, many a burden is laid bare.
After more than 150 catches now, does it surprise you there are so many people walking around with pain in their lives?
It doesn't surprise me because it's unspoken pain.
In his own pain, Dan has found purpose.
I feel like I have a job to do. I need to shoulder your pain. I need to help lift that burden. And I'm doing better.
As a result of it.
As a result, and I can help others.
It is amazing. He plays catch, and then the next thing you know, somebody comes over and says, "You're not going to believe what happened to me."
Yeah.
And they just tell
How
these
do people
stories.
find him?
It's this catharsis. He has a Facebook page. Here are the days that are open. Some days he gets completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
On what would have been Ethan's 18th birthday recently, guess who was throwing out the ceremonial first pitch and meeting Albert Pujols, future Hall of Famer at Busch Stadium?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. But it's interesting because Dan and his wife are divorced, and one of these days in the not too distant future, he's going to be playing catch with Ethan's mom.
Oh, that's sweet.
Full circle.
Dan's healing, and through the catching, he's helping these other folks.
I know, it is remarkable because he said sometimes I'll just go up to somebody and say, I have an extra glove, do you want to have a catch?
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, the person, you're not going to believe what happened to me. And this is, more than anything else of working on this story, you find that everybody has something, right? It's not like anybody gets through scot-free. Everybody's carrying a little extra.
And playing catch does relax you. I was just thinking about this, and we talk about meditation a lot. There's that hypnotic quality to it where you can only think about catching the ball, talking to somebody.
The sound.
Yeah.
The sound alone, that smack.
And also play.
Right?
It's a little bit of joy.
Yeah,
So
and
a little bit
you're
of lightness.
And you're 9 years old again.
Yeah.
That's
Thank you.
Incredible.
Cool, Harry.
Pleasure.
That.
Yep.
Maybe it'll inspire some folks to go out and play catch this afternoon. Why not?
You know Chase Crawford, who melted teen hearts everywhere in the hit drama, which has a whole new fan base thanks to the popularity of Netflix.
These days, though, you can find Chase in a fancy wetsuit. He's playing the Deep in the Prime Video series The Boys. And this season, he's trying to get back into the good graces of the elite superhero group, The Seven.
So good to see
well,
you.
You're like old friends, kind of,
Well, we're
right?
I know
from the same state.
Yeah, fellow Texan. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, I feel like I'm sort of a homesick Texan living
Me
in
too.
New York City. Do you
Yeah.
feel like you miss that?
I do, absolutely. I get to see my family quite a bit for holidays and kids' birthdays and stuff like that. I miss the Tex-Mex, obviously.
me too. Well,
yeah.
Jenna tries to bring a lot of Texas here on the show, and for Halloween, I don't know if you saw it, but she dressed up as a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. So I just want to know, I just want you to know what
we
you
don't
thought.
need him to bring it.
There you go.
I just want, she and Savannah both did it.
Amazing.
What do you
Wow, the full thing.
And by the
yes.
way, Chase, those are
That's
the real, the other ones are the real cowboy
Amazing.
cheerleaders. How do you think she did?
No, we
That's
don't need
fantastic.
him to rank
You
me.
fit-
I just wondered.
You fit right in. Look at you guys.
Wow.
The whole thing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think Tony Romo would think?
Oh, I think he would think I was spot on. I think it was spot on. It's perfect.
Tony's your
Yes.
brother-in-law,
Tony
right?
is my brother-in-law, yeah.
Is it kind of crazy to have like a Cowboys quarterback as your brother-in-law? Like, do you ever feel like?
I mean, it is. I grew up a huge Cowboys fan. There he is right there. Yeah, I grew up a huge Cowboys fan, him and my sister Candace. And so, yeah, it was wild growing up. I kind of have a soft spot. I miss those days, you know?
Yeah.
Going to the game with my dad and all that. So it's good, though.
Were you
yeah.
a Rangers fan too? Because I was
Absolutely.
a Rangers fan.
Yeah, going to the
Leo
Rangers
Franco,
games.
Are we the same age? You're younger.
Yeah. I remember growing up a big Nolan Ryan fan, but I wasn't really.
Nolan,
yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Do you remember that song?
Wait.
Kind of, yeah.
Did you have a signature? Wait, what'd you have?
I had a ball. I had a signed ball. Yeah, it was like my granddad's like favorite.
Okay,
deal,
so you're an uncle. Are you a funkle?
I'm definitely a funkle.
What does that mean to be a funkle?
It means you can just pump them full of sugar and like send them on their way. You don't have to put them. There he is. There's the young. There's the young
my
one.
God.
Middle one. That's Rivers. Yeah.
How
He's
sweet.
cute.
What do they call you?
Uncle Chase.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, we have
That's
to talk
it.
about this show, The Boys. It's so good. It has
Yeah.
tons of people watching. You play like an Aquaman type character.
Yeah, it's like kind of like a little Zoolander meets Aquaman.
Yeah.
It's great.
What did you have to do to get into that character?
Just fit into that tight wetsuit that takes about 20 minutes to put on. But no, yeah, it's kind of making fun of that guy a little bit. The show's a satire,
Yes.
so there he is right there.
I mean, that is a very tight costume.
Wasn't too excited when I knew it was going to be sleeveless. There was, a lot of time, trying
You
to.
had to go to the gym and pump it up.
There we are, Niagara Falls, just hanging out. Yeah. So.
What do you think it is about this show that's captured? I mean, to be renewed for a third season is a big deal these days.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
I think, the superhero genre sort of laid the groundwork for the show, and that, it's that storytelling's a little bit, formulaic. You sort of know where that's going. It's PG-13.
Yeah.
Ours is definitely like a hard kind of rated R, little bit of blood and guts, but it's a lot of fun. It's
So
funny.
when you're picking projects, like you picked Gossip Girls, you picked a bunch of things, you picked this, what do you say to yourself before you say yes to a role?
Are they going to pay me? I'm like, this is going to be great. Yeah, what's that paycheck?
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to spend some time with you. Appreciate Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were going to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that. Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
And what do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning.
Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Deep in the sea off the Philippines, a remarkable discovery. The wreckage of the USS Samuel B. Roberts. The U.S. Navy destroyer that sank during World War II nearly 80 years ago has been on the floor of the Western Pacific Ocean, over 4 miles deep. It's where a team of American and British explorers found the battered ship split in two, the gun mount and torpedo tubes still intact. They could even make out the hull number, 413.
When a ship goes down in battle, it vanishes into the black of the ocean. But finding the wrecks, I think, does bring some level of peace and respect to those that fell in the battle.
At 22,600 feet down, it's the deepest shipwreck yet. Further into the sea than Mount Kilimanjaro is high, and nearly twice the depth of where explorers found the Titanic. The incredible imagery of the ship captured by a high-tech sub after deep-sea detective work and a lot of luck.
Finding a small wreck like the Sammy B in such a significant wreck has just been, well, we couldn't have wished for more, really.
The Sammy B, as the ship is known, is famous for a heroic stand against the Japanese. During the battle off Samar in the Philippine Sea in October 1944.
Guarding the invasion of the Philippines, a vast American naval force. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, submarines.
Part of the Taffy 3 task force, the Navy escort was never meant for heavy battle, but made a torpedo attack at point-blank range into the teeth of Japanese cruisers. Jack Hewson, a gunner on the ship, recalled before he died in 2016 how they were outnumbered and outgunned.
The shells were coming right over, we could see them, right over our heads. And then I knew, boy, this is for real.
It's going to be a fight to the finish.
The order came to abandon ship. Survivors watched her slip into the sea along with 89 men.
I was just crying, my heart.
The ship, a last witness to battle, now an artifact for historians.
They are considered a war grave, you know, look but don't touch. It is sacred territory. It is essentially an American graveyard.
The expedition crew kept its distance for other reasons too. The cannons are still loaded, frozen in time on the sea floor.
There were 4 U.S. ships that went down in that area, including the USS Johnson, which was found last year by the same explorer and was considered the deepest wreck at over 21,000 feet until this discovery of the Sammy B. So their plan now is to find those 2 other ships to help complete this incredible connection to history.
Say there today all day. Are you looking to ditch some dairy? Well, up next on #Cooking, Samadata remaking 2 classically creamy dishes without the cream. First up, she's going to make a vegan mac and cheese with a velvety sauce. Then for dessert, Sama turns overripe bananas into a luscious dairy-free nice cream.
Can you imagine if they started making like onion-scented candles? That would be such a crazy choice. I'd probably buy one. If you can't eat dairy, then don't worry, I got you. I'm always coming up with new ways to make creative, delicious dips, fillings, and desserts without any of the dairy. I really just want to make dairy free cool. I'm going to show you how to make 2 of my favorite recipes that are traditionally loaded with lots of cheese and milk. First up, my masala mac and cheese, and next, because we can never forget dessert, my banana cardamom ice cream. One of the first ways that I dabbled into cooking, and maybe it's a bit generous to say cooking, was through boxed mac and cheese. I used to love that mildly suspect bright orange powder. But today, we are making my masala mac and cheese. The flavor profile is a little bit more elevated, but still just as creamy and decadent. Let's get started. The first thing that we're gonna do is dice up my onion. So I wanted to add some cooked onions into the sauce because I think it adds a lot more flavor. We want different levels of flavor and spice, and by cooking these onions down in some olive oil, it's really gonna get us there. I'm gonna peel this guy. I am just dicing my onion right there. Little rough, don't worry, because we are going to blend it later. After it's been cooked, of course. I've just diced my onions, and now I'm just gonna heat up some olive oil on my pan. Okay, my olive oil is shimmering. Time to add my onions. I also want to make sure I'm seasoning my onions with some salt and pepper. A little salt. And some freshly ground black pepper. Okay, these onions look delicious. They look nice and golden brown. I'm gonna turn my stove off, set these aside to cool, and get to work on my creamy sauce. Before we get going on my sauce, I have to tell you about cashews. When you soak cashews, they absorb a lot of that water, expanding them and making them a lot easier to blend. Because they're so buttery, when you actually do blend them after they've been soaked, they can create creamy dips, dressings, sauces, desserts, mac and cheese sauce, anything, you name it. But if you skip soaking them, and please don't, you'll get a really crumbly and mealy sauce, and that's just not cute. It's really important that you soak your cashews for at least 24 hours overnight, or you can flash soak them for an hour in hot water. Best part about this mac and cheese is it comes together in this blender. What could be better? Mac and cheese in a blender? I'm on board. We're gonna add our cashews into our blender. Make sure when you're making this recipe that you only use raw cashews. No salt on it, no roasting. Because I want a little bit of a sweet taste and I want that nice orange color for this mac and cheese, I'm using a roasted sweet potato. I'm just gonna peel the skin off with my hands. By the way, if you're worried that I'm handling a hot potato, I'm not. This has been cooled. Don't worry about me. I'm okay. I'm just gonna take about half of this, pop it in my blender. You thought I forgot about my onions? You were wrong. They're going straight in here. Now to get that really delicious, cheesy, savory flavor, I'm using some nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is a really common vegan cheese replacement. Adding this straight in my blender. It adds a bit of umami as well. Now, for my spices. This is a masala mac and cheese after all. Got some cumin. Adding a bit of cayenne. Cayenne gives me that heat. I want a little bit of spice in this masala mac. I'm gonna add some turmeric. Turmeric is not only delicious, but it also adds that really gorgeous yellow color that we're chasing for this mac and cheese. And finally, we've got some garlic powder. To help everything blend together, I've got some vegetable broth. Veggie broth is also a bit better than adding something like water because it's got a little bit more flavor in there. Okay, are you ready to blend? Okay, let's do it. And if you need to, feel free to scrape down the sides of the blender to get everything well incorporated. Boom. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt, a little more pepper. Back to blending we go. Okay, I'm really pleased to announce that my mac and cheese sauce is done. Looks amazing. Time to make our pasta. Got my cute little elbows here. My water is boiling. Don't forget, please don't forget to salt your pasta water, okay? I'm gonna do that right now. Pasta water is salted. It's time for our pasta. So I am using elbows here for my little cute pasta shape. I wanted to get that very iconic mac and cheese vibe, but you can totally use whatever short pasta works for you. A shell would be nice here, penne would be nice here. Okay, so I'm just gonna fish for a piece, see how we're doing on doneness. This is the best way to check. Just pinch it with your fingers or just bite into it. Perfect. Our pasta is ready. Time to drain. Okay, don't drop the sama. Don't drop it. One more thing to do is just add our sauce to our pasta. I'm gonna add this into my bowl. I'm really excited about this sauce. Just so you know, this makes a lot of sauce. I like a saucy mac, but you can totally reserve some for later if you want it to be a little less saucy. All right, time to plate. Sorry, I just gasped. I was just taken aback. It's so creamy. All right, little fresh parsley just to top. Little bit of color, little bit of green, little bit of herb, just to bring this out. And then I'm just gonna finish it with some freshly ground black pepper. Have you ever seen a more velvety mac and cheese? I just have to capture this. Here I go. This is gonna be an action shot. Okay, think I got it. Time for me to dig in. I've never been more happy than this moment right now. There's so much flavor going on, and it's so creamy. You would not believe there's no dairy in this. I'm not telling you to throw away your box mac and cheese, but I'm definitely telling you to give this a try. You will not regret it. So good. It's me, and I can never have any dinner or lunch without a little bit of dessert. So up next, I've got my banana cardamom ice cream, and you're absolutely gonna love it. I'm gonna go grab the ingredients.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feel like Christmas or my birthday or something.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, It's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson. Streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better?
If you thought that you needed an ice cream maker to make ice cream at home, then think again. My banana cardamom ice cream comes together in a blender and takes a little nice nap in the freezer to create the most luscious vegan ice cream. Let's make it. Listen closely. I hate wasting bananas. It's so sad. Ripe bananas, really spotty bananas, are perfect for so many different types of recipes, and especially this ice cream. They help create that really luscious, creamy texture without any of the dairy. I've got my frozen bananas here. I'm just gonna pop them into my blender. When I freeze bananas, I like to cut them up in little pieces just to make it easier to blend. Really important that you're using ripe frozen bananas because we're not actually gonna add any added sugar to this recipe. All the sweetness is gonna come straight from those bananas. Okay, now I'm gonna add a little bit of creamy almond butter into my blender. Because the bananas are super sweet, I like adding a nut butter like an almond or even a peanut butter just to balance out that sweetness. I love using cardamom in this ice cream because it's got this really nice piney, fruity undertone. Really delicious. If you don't have it, don't worry, you can totally sub cinnamon instead. Now to help everything come together, I'm just gonna add a little bit of almond milk. Here's the important thing. We're not trying to go for a smoothie here, right? So we're just gonna add a little bit of milk just to get the blender going. Time to blend. Time to scrape down the sides of the blender. I'd rather scrape down the size of the blender a million times to get that really creamy, thick, almost soft serve consistency ice cream, rather than add too much almond milk and be left with a smoothie. Can we just take a moment for my blender, please? It literally does the absolute most for me. It's key when I'm creating all of my delicious dairy-free recipes. Okay, I think we made it. I could eat this now, and you could too, but I do want a little bit of an ice cream scoopable consistency, so that's why I'm transferring it to the freezer. Okay, ice cream is in my container safely. It's ready for the freezer for an hour or more. I know, I'm sorry, but patience is key here. Let's do it. My ice cream is done. A little patience gets us a very long way. I am just gonna cut some strawberries to top my ice cream with, and then I'm gonna enjoy it. No, I did not just sneak a strawberry. I have been waiting for a long time for my dessert, so it is time to scoop my ice cream. I'm very excited. I just gasped yet again. Oh, you thought I was a single scoop girl? Think again. Oh, you thought I was a double scoop girl? Think once more. Time to top with some of my strawberries, just for some color, just for some freshness. I would say this looks too pretty to eat, but I'm for sure gonna eat it. I will take a picture though. Okay, I'm ready to taste. It is crazy that you can make something this creamy with frozen bananas. It's crazy, it's wild. The bananas are so sweet, and we've got that almond butter to balance it out, and then that cardamom brings all the flavors to life. The next time you're craving something super creamy and delicious, but you can't have dairy, look, there's options for you. These are so easy to make. I made so many of my dairy-free recipes in my blender. Easy to whip up, just as decadent, just as creamy and delicious, without the dairy. Hold me back. I am going in again. Oh, it's so good.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
This is seriously so good. It's like, the sweetness is perfect. It's not too much, it's not too little. It's like my little Goldilocks sweetness. It's so good. Who doesn't love a muffin? As for me, whenever I enter any bakery or cafe, my eyes go directly to the muffins. I am obsessed. Am I the hashtag muffin woman? I don't know, that's a question for another day. But I've always wanted to create my favorite bakery style muffins at home. So after a little testing, I came up with 2 that are always on rotation for me. First up, a blueberry muffin just sweetened with some honey, and lemon poppy seed muffin tops with a cute lemon cashew glaze. I always bake with chocolate over fruit. That's typically my MO. But I will say, I always make a little exception when it comes to a blueberry muffin. They're just my favorite staple comfort baked good. But I was thinking, why should I go to a bakery when I can make one in my own kitchen? So let's get started. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees and I've lined my little muffin tin with these cute muffin liners. They're so cute. Now I can start on my wet ingredients. First up, I've got 1 egg. Just cracked my egg in here. Gonna whisk it really well. I want no separation between the yolk and the whites. This looks nice and uniform. Now, I'm gonna add in my almond butter. I find that the almond butter kind of adds a really nice nuttiness to these muffins. It's so delicious. Gonna mix my egg and my almond butter together really nicely so it's well incorporated. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add my melted and cooled coconut oil. This is gonna serve as a nice butter replacement. Okay, and now, I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla extract. And for my star, I cannot have my honey blueberry muffins without the honey. That would simply be wrong. I like to use local honey for these muffins, especially because it's such an important flavor component. I really want to use the good stuff. And finally, I want a little touch of acidity just to bring out all of those flavors, so I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh lemon juice. Perfect. Mix the lemon juice in there. It smells so good. Okay, my wet ingredients look perfect. They're well incorporated, they're well mixed, which means it's time for me to move on to my dry ingredients. I'm using almond flour for this recipe, which is honestly my favorite flour to bake with. It's super cakey and dense, so it creates a really nice texture in these muffins. I'm gonna add some baking powder and a little pinch of salt. Just a little. Perfect. Now I'm just gonna whisk my dry ingredients together, make sure everything's well incorporated. You know what time it is. It's time to combine our wet and dry ingredients. We want an even muffin batter. It smells so good already. All right, I'm just gonna add a little bit of almond milk to help everything come together a bit better. This is looking great. Now, this is a blueberry muffin. So I've got my gorgeous fresh blueberries here. Just proceed with caution when you're folding your blueberries into the batter. We don't want them to burst. They're precious, they're delicate. Just like, be careful of their feelings, okay? Okay, we look nice and well incorporated here, so it's time for me to add them into my muffin tin. I like using a cookie scoop for cookies, for muffins, because it allows me to just capture even amounts of batter per muffin tin, per cookie, makes it really consistent. And then you get a nice even bake too. Perfect. All right, so all that's left to do is bake them. They're going in the oven 30 to 35 minutes. I'm really excited to see them on the other end of this. Should I open a bakery? Just wondering. They look so cute. I've let them cool for 15 minutes, which means that it's definitely time for me to eat them. Okay, let's take a look. I mean, come on. They look so good. Before I dive into these, okay, I'm gonna have to take a picture. If I'm trying to start my own bakery, I gotta have some documentation of this moment. Pretty iconic stuff, I have to say. I think it's time for me to try them. I think I've waited long enough. Here's a question. Do you bite into your muffin or do you rip a piece off? I'm gonna be dainty today and rip a little piece off. Here I go. Okay, oh, almost lost a blueberry. It's crazy how well the blueberries and the honey go together. It's so good. Speaking of muffins, if you only eat the muffin tops, don't worry, I'm not judging you. In fact, my next recipe is for you because I'm gonna be making my lemon poppy seed muffin tops. I'm gonna go grab the ingredients.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Hey, who's this?
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
You and I both know that we are kind of only here for the muffin tops, or at least that's my favorite part of the muffin. So for my next recipe, I thought I would whip up a lemon poppy seed muffin top with a lemon cashew glaze to satisfy all of you muffin top lovers out there. And I know you're out there. I preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and because I love being prepared, I have lined my pan with parchment paper, and now I get to work on my wet ingredients. All right, I'm gonna crack 2 eggs. Now I'm gonna add in my melted and cooled coconut oil. All right, whisking that nicely. I'm using maple syrup and coconut sugar to sweeten these muffin tops. They're my two favorite sweeteners. They add a really nice, robust taste, especially when paired together. Adding my maple syrup. Reminds me of pancakes and waffles, but it's kind of better in a muffin. This is a lemon poppy seed muffin top, which means we can't make it without the lemons, right? First, I'm gonna zest some lemons. I love using the lemon zest. It really amplifies that lemon flavor in these muffin tops. Now I'm gonna juice my lemons. Because I love precision, I'm gonna juice my lemons straight into this measuring cup so I know exactly how much I'm using. Okay, we've got our lemon juice, and now we're just gonna add it straight into the rest of our wet ingredients. Mix that up really nicely. And for one more layer of our sweetness, I'm gonna add some coconut sugar. It's super warm, it's rich, it's golden. All right, our dry ingredients, very important, just as important as our wet ingredients. Here, I'm using a combination of almond flour and oat flour. I find that almond flour is pretty dense. The only ingredient is almonds, and with oats, it's a little bit lighter. I'm gonna add some baking powder, a little pinch of salt to bring out all of that sweetness, just a little. I'm gonna whisk this together. Just for a little something extra, I'm gonna add in some rolled oats. I find that this gives a lot of texture. It's really nice to have in these muffin tops. And because I'm really trying to recreate that iconic lemon poppy seed muffin, we have to have our poppy seeds. Okay, this looks really nice. It's time to combine our wet and dry ingredients. And add this in. Perfect. Just gonna fold everything in super gently. Okay. This looks perfect. Time to use my giant cookie scoop and scoop these onto my pan. I like using these because it allows me to get a really nice uniform muffin top, so they're all even, they're all the same size. You know what's really great about a muffin top? You don't need a muffin tin to make them. Just use your cookie sheet. It's a game changer. These are ready for a little journey in the oven, 350 degrees for about 30 minutes, or until it's nice and golden brown around the edges. Let's go. I've let my muffins cool for about 20 minutes, and you know what they need? You know what they're ready for? A little glaze. I'm gonna just preface this for you. I just wanna tell you that this glaze is kind of like a cross between a glaze and a frosting. So I do tend to call it a glosting. And I know I made that word up, and I'm honestly pretty proud of myself for it. So let's make our glosting. To make this really creamy, delicious glaze slash frosting, aka glosting, we are going to be using some cashews. I've soaked these cashews, and when you soak them, it actually allows them to absorb that liquid and become really nice and tender and plump. This is gonna be the perfect thing to just blitz up in our blender because it's gonna be really luscious and smooth. I drained the water from my soaked cashews, and I'm just gonna pop them in my blender. To complement that gorgeous lemon flavor in our lemon poppy seed muffin tops, I'm going to add some lemon juice into my blender, into my glosting. Now, to sweeten this up, I'm going to add some maple syrup. Time for a little oat milk. Finally, to bring out all of those flavors, balance everything out, a little pinch of salt. Now I'm just going to blend this up. Look at this gorgeous glosting. All right, we're ready to put this glaze on. Let me give you some options because we love options. You can do a little drizzle like this. So pretty. It's so thick and creamy. Do a little delicate, unfussy drizzle, or if you want to really commit, you can just gloss that whole thing. Don't be shy. Getting it to really fall over the sides like that. It's really good. One last thing to really finish it off, seal the deal, little extra poppy seed garnish. Those poppy seeds add some nice nuttiness. Gotta take a picture. I mean, that frosting, it like, who gave the frosting permission to do that right there? It's almost unfair. Now it's my time to eat. My turn to eat. Pretty, right? Okay, I'm ready. You know what's the worst thing in a lemon baked good? Not enough lemon. This is so tart, perfectly sweet. I have no rules for myself. I don't know, I feel like I found a new calling in life, and I think it might be to open a muffin store. We'll have plenty of muffin tops, plenty of regular muffins. I hope this inspired you to make muffins at home. I mean, this is so easy to make. The frosting / glossing, also very easy. I just hope you never go without a muffin again in your own home.
We are so excited to have one of our Peacock family members join us, and MSNBC anchor Katie Tur. And we say MSNBC, but I mean you were at Channel 4. Katie Tur's been around.
Certainly, yes, I have. You're also a New York Times best-selling author. Her book, Unbelievable, followed former President Trump on the campaign trail.
Well, now she's out with a new book. It's called Rough Draft, and this one is much more personal. I can't wait to talk about it. Katie, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm so happy that I'm here.
I know, worlds are colliding, and I love it.
I know, it's great.
It's awesome. I admire you so much. And I think, Carson was just talking about the fact that sometimes people see people on TV and they just think, oh, life is perfect, they're perfect, end of story. You have such a story to tell, but it's one that you have to be open to giving. Why now? And you know what I mean? What was your motivation?
So, I don't know about you guys, but during the pandemic, when we all were sent home and forced to do our jobs from our own basements, at least in my case, the separation and the isolation kind of got my head spinning. And I felt like, what am I doing? Everyone hates me. Should I be a journalist? Am I helping anything? Right. And I in this life spiral that I was in the middle of, my mom sent me a hard drive, a computer hard drive, and it contained thousands and thousands of hours of video of my parents' news library, because they were helicopter journalists. They shot all of the most incredible and famous photos, video during the 80s and 90s. They found OJ in the Slow Speed Pursuit. They got the Reginald Denny beating, the guy that got pulled out of the red gravel truck. Pretty much any car pursuit, police pursuit you saw in LA in the 80s and 90s, they shot. They popularized it. LA riots. I mean, they did all of these really big things. They've won every award you can imagine, but they also contributed to some of the stuff that we cover now that people think maybe it's a little too salacious, into the reality TVing of the news. And along the way, it was tumultuous. I mean, is a good way to say it. And I've been running from that past for like 15 years. And my mom sent me the hard drive. I realized that in order to answer the question of who am I, what am I doing, where am I going, I had to go back and look at my past. And talking about your parents and how they impacted you, especially as a journalist, I mean, you remember moments where they would get up and go in the middle of the night covering a wildfire and they just dragged you along with them. Yeah, I mean, it was fun at times. It was certainly a different childhood. There was one where there was a horse stuck in a ravine, which was a very important story, and they needed to get down farther into the ravine, and my brother and I were in the helicopter, so they landed it, dropped us off at just some random people's house on the ridge, and said, just stay here for a little while, we'll be right back. Oh my goodness. And, they came back eventually. We had ice cream, and everything was fine, but it was an alternative childhood.
A topic that you really sort of cover extensively throughout the book is what we'll describe as a tumultuous relationship with your father, Zoe Tur, who came out a number of years ago as a trans woman. And you write about your father's rage and how she punched holes in the walls, threw objects, would even fly downward spirals in the helicopter to scare your mother if she messed up while filming. Why did you feel it was important to share that part of the story as well?
Because in order to tell the story, to really understand it and to be honest about it, I had to tell the whole story. And you can't just tell the glossy parts of it. You know this. You've written a book just like this. The glossy parts are not everything, and they're not honest, they're not authentic. People don't identify with it. And most of all, I wanted my kids to have an honest record of who I was and who their grandparents are.
We reached out to Zoe Tur for comment. We should point out she did not respond to our request. Did you find the process itself cathartic?
I did. I did. I mean, I go back and I read it, and there are some chapters where I am having so much fun, and it thrills me about being a journalist, and it makes me so excited about my childhood. And then I go into another chapter, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
So would you?
I want to run and hide. But it was cathartic going through the process of getting it all there.
So if you were to soul search, would you say that's why you're a journalist now? I mean, did that lead you to this point?
Definitely. I mean, they showed me that the world is a more interesting place than an office. And there's so much to learn out there. There's so much to cover. There's so much that's happening in front of us that people need to know. And it's all about chasing the truth. And that's what I did here. I tried to chase down the truth.
Katie Bear Tur. That's her middle name, by the way, for real.
It is.
Bear.
Oh, it is?
Bear.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Bear. It's a whole chapter about why it's Bear. It's funny.
Such a good read. I'm not finished with it yet, so just don't tell me anything else. It's such a good book. You're such a good writer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for stopping by, Katie.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better?
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Uzo Aduba is already a 3-time Emmy winner for her roles in Orange is the New Black and Mrs. America. And just last Sunday, she attended her first Tony Awards right here, right across the streets, nominated for her recent run in Clyde.
Oh, you look like a dream. She's also starring in one of the most anticipated movies of the summer, Lightyear. Uzo plays Alicia Hawthorne, Buzz's best friend and commanding officer. Take a look.
You know how I feel about rookies. The same way I feel about autopilots. How may I assist you? Is there anything I can do, sir? They don't help, they just overcomplicate things. I'm better off just doing the job myself.
Which is why I brought the rookie.
Hello? No.
Buzz, protocol requires we bring him along.
He's gonna have sad eyes.
Buzz?
You know I can't deal with sad eyes.
Look at the rookie, Buzz.
Nope.
Look at the Look.
No.
Lightyear.
Nope.
Look at him.
Not looking.
Look.
Nope.
Look.
No,
look,
no,
look,
no,
look
no,
at
no.
the rookie.
Look at that rookie! What? This is awesome. We can't wait to talk about this film in just a sec. But we are here at Rockefeller Center, and as I was walking in and then reading about your background, we know that there's a restaurant like right around the corner.
Yeah.
What was it called? City
Lobster.
You
City
were a
Lobster.
waitress. You worked there. I mean, does that seem like a million years ago?
Yeah, well, I mean, light years ago. Like a million light years ago. I mean, yeah, it does. It was my first job when I moved here to New York. I think it's closed now, but you can still see the faint print on the outside, and it's crazy pulling up here. And, you know, I'm turning right to come in to see y'all. And on a normal day back when I first got here, I would have turned left to go to that restaurant.
So you were working that restaurant and just trying to get some gigs? Is that what you were doing?
That's it. Just the working, you know, starving artist, typical New York story, moving here, trying to become an actor, trying to live out the dream, you know, and I am living it, you know, now.
I mean, that must feel like some sort of like living dream, like a daydream. And then to add to it, you were a theater kid growing up, and then you got to be nominated. You got your first nomination at the Tonys Awards. So like the same car would have driven you to the restaurant. You got out at Radio City.
It was crazy when I got out, literally when I got out of the car, 49th Street across, I'm looking up at Radio City, and my sisters and I, we were talking about it as we were pulling up 6th Avenue. It's like right there That's where I used to work. My sister, the first time she ever tried lobster bisque was at that restaurant, and because I had tried it.
When you were a kid, and you talked about how when you were in theater, it was like the first place that you feel like you fit, like a puzzle piece that just clicks in.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm home. Tell us about what that feeling was for you.
It was amazing to feel like there's a place and a space where you can fully explore and just be yourself. Yeah. You know, everyone surrounding you is interested in the same thing. That creativity is cool. Imagination, like all these ideas, wild voices and personalities that I had, characters that I had in my mind, like there was a place to put them. It just felt like a home, just like home. And to have that translate then when you move to New York and you find an even wider community that's doing the same is just incredible.
Yeah, you know what? I also loved that you brought your sisters.
Yeah. Oh, that was
you brought that, you know, and how do they like lift you up? Like, what does sisterhood mean to you?
It means everything to me. Sisterhood is the most important thing to me. You know, my middle name is Waneka, which actually means nothing is more important than your sisters.
Wait, what?
It means nothing is more important than your sisters.
What's the word again?
Waneka.
Waneka
is my middle name.
Waneka.
And it means the world to me. I know you're close with your sisters.
I'm like, what has happened?
There is nothing like it. Yeah. You know, I am forever bonded to those two women. They are everything to me in this world. Like, there's no word that actually defines the tightness and closeness of that relationship. It cannot be replaced. It cannot be broken.
And for them to watch you, I can only imagine, like I was picturing my sister got out and walked the red carpet at the Tonys.
Yes, yes.
What is it like? How do they see your success?
They love it. They're just so proud, you know, that feeling of knowing, for me at least anyway, having been there on the lean days and the lean years, and then now being here in a time of feast, you know, and enjoyment. They know what this experience and the journey has been. So when we get to have these very, very special moments and these very, very special memories, it means everything, both to all of us. These are the people I leaned on when I didn't know what direction we were going in, you know?
And now you're in this iconic film. I mean, when they called and said, we want you to be part of this and be a big part of it.
Yes.
What did you say?
Oh, okay, so this was like maybe one of the easiest calls like ever. You know, the call came, it's like, so you know Toy Story? I was like, yeah. They're like, they're making an origin story called Lightyear. I was like, I'm in.
You didn't ask about
nothing,
the role?
not a question, not a question.
So what was it like playing that role? Because playing someone animated, you've done it once before, but that's a whole different game.
It was great.
Yeah.
You know, it's so fun because you're in the booth. First of all, you get to see everything happening up on the screen. You know, stills and like little. You could see like the process. You know, one time you'll come in and it's just sketches. Another time you'll come in, they're animated sketches. Another time it might be something done up, you know, fully completed. And then you have to sort of like try matching your voice to what's going on screen, and that feels really exciting. And then the challenge of not having your physical body to necessarily help express exactly, but then you have to like figure out how to put that into your voice. It's a nice exercise as an actor.
Yeah, really incredible. We cannot wait to see what you're going to do next. We're such fans of yours. If you can't tell by our weeping. Adore.
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feels like Christmas or my birthday or something.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Allie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were going to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that. Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
To understand this mystery, we need to go back to a time when television was black and white and when astronauts, male astronauts, drove cool cars like this. But then in 1962, a young woman by the name of Miss Kelly said that she wanted to become an astronaut. But as you'll see, the times then were oh so different.
In this letter dated February 26, 1962, NASA responds to a young woman's request to become an astronaut, writing, "Your offer to go on a space mission is commendable, and we are very grateful. This is to advise that we have no existing program concerning women astronauts, nor do we contemplate any such plan." The letter suggests that woman, known only as Miss Kelly, was a student at the University of Connecticut.
The world's first woman astronaut.
At the time, the Soviet space program had already chosen a female cosmonaut. June 16, 1963, exactly 59 years ago tomorrow, Russian Valentina Tereshkova became the first woman in space. It could have been Miss Kelly or other American women who dreamed of space travel, but the times then were so different. Headlines like "3 blondes ask equality in space" reflect just how much had to be overcome.
I became the first female commander on the space station.
Former NASA astronaut Peggy Whitson is a pioneer, one of 75 women who've been to space, compared to more than 530 men. Whitson will return to space next year as a commander on Axiom's AX-2.
What is it that we want to know?
Well, we want to find out if Miss Kelly actually found some dream and worked for it and made it happen for herself. I hope she did.
NASA didn't officially hire female astronauts until 1978, 16 years after that rejection letter to Miss Kelly.
Women are expected to play a major role in this country's future flights beyond Earth.
Today, organizations like Space Kids Global encourage girls to consider careers in aerospace. The group is now leading the search for Miss Kelly to pay tribute to that one small step in the giant leap for women in space.
So, amateur sleuths, these are the clues. Miss Kelly, probably in her 70s or 80s at this point, and went to the University of Connecticut. So not much to work on. Meantime, the number 2 at NASA, Pam Bueller, tells me that she recognizes that at the time things were different, but today 30% of the NASA Corps are women, and the Artemis 3 mission, well, that will actually put a woman on the moon in about 2025 if they stick to the schedule. So, of course, that will be a giant step or a giant leap forward for womankind. Guys?
Maybe Miss Kelly will be available.
Yeah.
I think we can just track her down.
You know that moments from now, someone's going to find Miss Kelly.
Someone has found Miss Kelly in the last 5
Call the
years.
University of Connecticut.
Yeah, call you, Kelly.
We're on it, Carrie.
Okay, thank you,
We'll
guys.
have an update tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope.
Biggest question to ask yourself when setting financial goals. What is your long-term goal? And what does your future look like?
For 27-year-old Lauren Simmons, her future is looking bright. As a podcast host, author, and entrepreneur, Lauren is a rising star in the finance world. After graduating from Kennesaw State University in 2016, Lauren moved to New York City, where she landed a job as a stock trader. And at just 22 years old, she became the youngest person and only the second Black woman in the New York Stock Exchange's 230-year history.
Did you realize that you were breaking barriers
barriers?
Absolutely not. I just wanted to make my mom happy. And when I passed the exam, which, mind you, the men on the floor were openly taking bets against me before the exams.
Did you know that was happening?
Yes. I let my work speak for itself. The day that I passed the exam, Richard Rosenblatt, at the time CEO and founder of Rosenblatt Securities, came downstairs and we get this badge. He was ringing the bell that day. He's like, we gotta get Lauren a badge. She has to come on stage with me. I was the youngest member and he was the oldest member. It was such a beautiful moment.
What was it like being a wolfette among the wolves of Wall Street?
Once I passed the exam and I proved myself, the men on the floor gave me the same respect as the other men. I got to change people's opinions, and I feel like that has a far bigger impact than it would if I was in a space that was a little bit more diverse.
29. Yes.
Since leaving Wall Street in 2019, Lauren is expanding the money conversation and making it more accessible for young people and women with projects like her podcast, Money Moves.
Why do you want to make financial literacy so available to everyone, but specifically to younger people?
I think the early that we can be transparent about salaries, credit, money, what we want financially in relationships, the more empowered we can be in the long run for our future.
What would you tell young Lauren?
What would I tell her? Oh my goodness, you're gonna make me cry. I, would tell her everything happens for a reason and it's gonna work out just fine.
Okay, let's get cozy on the couch and get out of my comfort zone, talk some finances.
Yay,
okay.
I'm excited.
Courage to talk about finance. I'm gonna ask you some quick spitfire financial questions.
Okay.
Best tip to save?
Budgeting.
Can you tell me about the 50-30-20 budget rule, by the way?
Yeah, so 50% goes to your expenses after taxes, because people seem to forget that. 30% goes to your future, 20% goes to your wants.
And what is the best way to budget?
Understanding where your money is going and not being afraid to check your bank account.
That is sometimes scary.
Very scary. You better get out of that.
Most important argument to have when negotiating a raise?
Understand what it is that you want and what you're willing to compromise on. And realizing that negotiating a salary is not all about money. It can be time off. There's so many other different options.
And should you always be over negotiating?
Yes.
Okay.
Let them knock you down, don't under.
I feel like, honestly, I feel like a little weight is lifted off my shoulder. Like I should be able to take better control of my finances and what I want.
Not you should, you will.
I will. I will.
You will.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I know, I love her. I know.
She's going to be running so many things.
Really
She's an
incredible.
amazing human being.
And part of what she does, if you follow her, which I hope that you do, is she gets you out of your comfort zone when talking about finances. Because sometimes I felt like, it's almost like a little bit rude talking about it with certain people. But she makes it easy in a way and more commonplace. Just one quick anecdote. When she was trading on the New York Stock Exchange, she was making $12,000 a year when other traders were making $120,000 a year. And now, guess what? She is set to be a millionaire this year.
Oh,
Good
amazing.
for her.
She's
Good
incredible.
for
Thank you,
her.
Donna.
That was awesome, Donna.
She's awesome.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
What do you love about fatherhood?
the chaos, the learning.
Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
They're called Gen Z, but many young adults proudly embrace 5 other letters, LGBTQ.
I'm a lesbian.
I'm gay.
I'm bisexual.
I'm transgender.
I'm queer.
A recent Gallup poll found that among Gen Z adults, those between the ages of 18 and 25, about 21% identify as LGBTQ. 21%. That's 1 in 5.
When you heard that number, what was your reaction?
I really wasn't surprised. Our generation isn't really scared to actually say that we're part of the community and we're actually proud of who we are.
With the help of Campus Pride, a national group supporting LGBTQ college students, we gathered this group of Gen Zers: Eddie, Nick, Marcus, Sierra, and Mary. They go to the University of Central Florida and are part of the first generation to totally grow up in a digital world.
Social media, how important was that to you when you were younger?
Oh, social media, it was like everything to me because it really helped me form a sense of myself.
I remember writing in my diary as a kid that I had a crush on a boy just over and over and over, just to pray that eventually I'll convince myself that I do. And I got introduced to these online communities, and I finally saw, oh wait, I'm not a freak. There are people out there who feel the same way that I do. And that realization saved my life.
And I don't want to add more stress to your day, but I love you.
They could also see themselves reflected in traditional media, movies, and TV shows.
Growing up and seeing even the smallest bits of representation in like LGBTQ plus characters and everything of that sort is just made me feel, like not alone. And it made me feel like kind of understood.
And perhaps no endorsement had a greater impact than the one delivered by the Supreme Court in 2015.
Now to that historic Supreme Court decision legalizing same-sex marriage across the land.
All of it creates a sense of belonging that mental health experts say is vital.
The messaging that Gen Zers have is like it's okay to be who you are and to love who you love and to talk about that and celebrate that.
A majority of LGBTQ Gen Zers say they're bisexual, and among those 5 letters, a growing number of young people identify as queer, which is perhaps most simply defined as not straight.
I present as a boy, but I love pink or I love like feminine things, but at the same time I could also like masculine things, and I don't need to be in that set like binary.
For your generation, it's easier to come out than, say, my generation, but it's not easy, is it?
No, definitely not.
For me, coming out was always sort of like bouncing off a brick wall and bouncing off the brick wall and bouncing until eventually I can make a dent.
I feel like there's this huge disconnect. Oh, being queer is like a trend, but these are people's identities. These are people really putting themselves on the line and putting themselves in a place where they could be in danger.
All of them grew up in more conservative communities in Florida. It's a state that's making headlines this year for passing legislation that prohibits classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity for many younger students.
We're going to make sure that parents are able to send their kid to kindergarten without having some of this stuff injected into their school curriculum.
What critics call the Don't Say Gay law.
Now you're just trying to control and minimize us and just kind of shove us back even more, but I think it only just kind of makes us push back harder.
So when you look at the future, do you have optimism?
Yes, definitely.
We have always been here, and now we are saying we're here. We are letting the world know that we accept ourselves, we love ourselves, and we're not going to back down.
Another major reason it's easier for younger people to come out is that society is simply more accepting. 70% of Americans now approve of same-sex marriage. And here's a really important stat about acceptance that I want you to think about. LGBTQ youth who have at least one, just one accepting adult in their lives were 40% less likely to report a suicide attempt.
Wow,
that's a big number.
It's the most important stat.
Yeah.
That was fascinating.
Thank you, Joe.
Welcome to Today All Day.
All day?
Today, all day. All day.
This is a long way of asking who's your favorite character you've ever played?
The unicorn.
The unicorn. You gotta have the unicorn.
What is she right there? That's why you're saying all these nice things?
Yeah, she gave me the look. Sorry to disturb your day.
Everyone's mad at you, Willie.
Better make this fast. I don't want the wrath of Luna.
When I see you, I always think, I wonder what his quote would be.
Give us 6 minutes and we'll ask as many questions as we can.
Welcome to Cold Cuts. Cold Cut. Cold Cut.
My buddy Cal cooking with me.
Dads don't babysit. It's called parenting.
What was the first book you remember loving?
Heart Smart today with simple exercises to strengthen your heart.
Make the most of your beach days.
It's all about the tracksuit now. How good do they look?
I now pronounce you husband and wife. Kiss the bride.
This morning, a story of people helping people.
You've received tons of letters from people who have been inspired.
Let's do the weather out. Okay. All you gotta do is say, it's cold, it's warm, it's raining, it's snowing. That's it.
One of our most favorite franchises ever, Ambush Makeovers.
Okay. Look at it. It doesn't look so good.
No, it doesn't look good.
Will you judge us in a cook-off?
I will, and you guys will definitely win something. What's up? Freaking freezing.
Did you call for this weather? Because I'm a little chilly.
I did not. I called for this view, though.
This is insane. When was the last time you were back here?
My goodness. It's been like 5 or 6 years for sure.
Could you enjoy it back then, or were you just going from interview to interview?
Yeah, I've never been to New York just for fun. I've never come here just to like chill. I've never had an off day in New York. So
what the heck are you going to do this trip? Because
I
your
don't know.
fiance's never been to New York ever.
She's literally never been, so I have no idea. I need somebody to tell us what to do because I'm just like, wow, this is incredible.
Just to recap, that's called Times Square.
Okay, I've heard of it.
I can get you a map. We can hit the subway.
Okay.
Empire State Building. Do you have bucket list items?
Those all sound good to me.
I got you, bro. All right, let's go downstairs because you're going to give me a big time exclusive.
Let's do it.
You ready for this?
I don't know.
30 minutes. Sit down, but don't let me down.
I'm nervous.
Well, I want to start out by saying thank you, buddy. Taylor's like a little brother to me. He's one of my best friends. You haven't done an interview like this in, what are we saying, 5 years?
Yeah, 5, 6 years probably.
You and I have had some really good conversations about what you experienced when you were 16 years old, when things really started getting crazy for you fame-wise, but you've never talked about it publicly. So before we even get started on that, thank you for your vulnerability. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I know it's not necessarily easy to talk about, but it's important to talk about it. And when I think about the most famous movie franchise I've ever covered, I think about Twilight. I think about the fans who waited 4, 5, 6 days before premiere. I've never seen that in my life. I think about paparazzi following you around everywhere you went.
Yeah.
The stories you've shared with me are insane, and I'm just curious what that did for you emotionally, how that affected you now that you've had years to process it.
When it first started, when I was 16 years old, and I booked this role in this franchise, which none of us knew exactly what it was going to be. I didn't know what I was signing up for. I was just trying to, do what I love to do, and make this role come to life. But I didn't realize what was ahead of me, and it's. Fame's, I was thinking about this last night. Fame is, it's a weird and dangerous thing because not many things in life can come and happen overnight. Fame can, and the another thing that's crazy about it is it also can disappear overnight. Which is the dangerous part, because when it was happening, when I was 16, 17, 18 years old, waking up and, trying to just go out for a walk or, go on a date, and, I have 12 cars waiting outside my house to follow me wherever I'm going, or, when you show up to an airport or anywhere and you have thousands of fans screaming. In the moment, it's like, it got frustrating because you just wanted to live a normal life. But then when that's taken away from you at all, you start to question yourself and start to be like, oh, do people not care about me anymore? And you don't realize how it affects you in the moment. But when it goes away a little bit, you notice it, and that's the dangerous part, because that can really mess with your mind.
What do you think the hardest part was for you? Was there a specific moment you look back on? Was it multiple stories? I mean, you've shared that you landed in many places around the world and there were security breaches. One time you had to stay inside your hotel room for 24 hours because fans, thousands of them, broke the stanchions, got in the hotel, and were banging on every door trying to find you. Yeah. That's not normal when you're a teenager.
Yeah, I have a lot of those stories, and we all experienced those stories. It's not normal, and when you're in it, it's kind of exciting, it's kind of weird, and I just think I was so young, I didn't know how to process it. I mean, back in the day, people used to ask me, like, how does it feel? I'm like, I don't know how it felt. Like, it was just a whirlwind. And looking back at it now, like, I wouldn't choose willingly to go through that again.
Wow.
I want to do what I love, but if I had the choice to do it without all that, I think I would.
Do you regret any of the work that you did because of the fame that it brought you? Would you do it all over again? Was the fame worth it?
Yeah, if you would have asked me that question 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah. I don't regret it, but maybe I wish that I didn't go through it. But if you ask me now, I say no. I'm happy that I went through it because of what it's taught me. It's taught me a lot, and it's made me who I am right now, and who I am right now. I'm happy with. Setbacks and struggles and roadblocks in life, they're important. They're important for people because, it teaches you things and it makes you who you are today. So no, for that I'm thankful.
You love the man you are now. You're preaching, man. I remember, it's funny because as you said that, I remember meeting Rob Pattinson for the first time, and he came by the studio before Twilight came out. They had already shot it. Yeah. And I said to him, do you realize that this is going to change everything for you? Yeah. And he's like, I'm just a guy that has Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts and soda in my refrigerator. That's all I have. Yeah. I'm a bachelor, and I think I'm ready for it. Yeah. And then boom, a week passes, the movie comes out, a month, and it was insane fame. That's how fast it really happened for you guys, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We definitely did not see it coming. And we had people that tried to warn us. We had people like you saying, this thing's going to be big. And we're like, yeah, I guess so. That's what they're saying. But we had no idea. There's no rule book or, playbook for, what we went through and how to cope with it. So it kind of was just a figure it out as you go thing. Yeah.
You told me that you didn't go to a grocery store, movie theater, mall for 10 years. Which shocked me. I mean, that's something you don't hear a lot about. Those are pretty normal places that we all go to. Yeah. When you went back for the first time to, say, the grocery store, I know you love the grocery store now, by the way. You go like 5 times a week. But do you remember that feeling? Were you looking around? Did you overthink it?
Yeah, it felt like freedom. I went so many years, just either not leaving my house, or if I did, hat, sunglasses, and just like scared. It built up something inside of me where even if I didn't know it, but I was scared to go out. I'd get super anxious to go out. So I just didn't. I didn't go to a grocery store or a movie theater or a mall or any of those places for a number of years. And yeah, now, as you know, a grocery store is my favorite place on the planet. I go into a grocery store and I literally will spend an hour and a half there. Because
just high-fiving people.
Making friends with the cashiers. Just going up and down every aisle, looking at everything. I don't know. It makes me feel free. And it's just stuff like that as simple as it is that I didn't have in my life, that it just makes me realize how wonderful and special life is.
You lived with your parents, you isolated for a bit, you took time away from Hollywood, you're back, you've got a new movie coming out. Do you feel like this was the time that you needed to process, recover, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Are you there yet? Are you still trying to figure out if you're there yet?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was needed. It was needed for me personally. So I as Taylor feel so much better today than I have in the last 4 or 5 years, call it. I don't know. The truth is, if I'm being honest with you, you're one of my best friends. I don't know if I'm like there and ready. I'm just gonna take it one day at a time. But I feel good and I feel happy. I just feel strong moving forward. So we'll see.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. And who's this?
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that.
Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it! Let's go. This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate
it. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We got to talk about Home Team, man, because when you told me about this role, I was so happy for you. I immediately thought this was perfect for you.
Yeah.
Can you give everybody a little premise, what it's about and how you fit into the mix there?
Yeah, it's a crazy story. It's the true story about Sean Payton, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. When he was suspended back in 2012 from Bountygate, and the story of what he did during that year, during his year off. And he ended up going back to his small town in Texas he was from, helping coach his 12-year-old son's Pee Wee football team, and brought them to the state championship game. So it's a pretty cool story. One of the more incredible ones that not many people know.
You're the Pee Wee coach.
I am Connor, his 12-year-old son's Pee Wee football coach, who is kind of like a father figure to all of his players, and especially Connor, who hasn't had his dad in his life for a bit. So when Sean shows up, I ask him to help coach the team with me to really, help out with the team, but really help reignite their father-son relationship.
Coach Payton is going to be our new offensive coordinator.
Our defense sucks too.
Dennis just fall down.
Yeah, he doesn't like contact.
You know he's playing football?
I say it was a great fit for you because you love football. You're a massive Saints fan. You know Coach Payton. Little tidbit here, I don't know if many people know this, but Coach's daughter was a massive Twilight fan. So you guys have this relationship, and next thing you know, you're on the field, you're wearing the gear, and now you're in a movie about his life. What's the full circle moment, if you can kind of sum it up in a couple minutes?
The summary is, when I was filming the final 2 Twilight movies, we filmed them in Baton Rouge, Sean reached out to my agent and said, hey, does Taylor want to come to a football game? I know he's a football fan. And I was like, yes. And I came. He treated me like royalty, gave me the headphones. I stood on the sideline the whole game, watching the game, listening to him call the plays between him and Drew Brees. He was way, way, way too nice to me. And then we just, started being friends. I came back for other home games. And for a diehard football fan, that was like, I don't think heaven gets much better than this. But then a few years later, I was filming Ridiculous 6 in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he reached out, and him and his daughter Megan do a father-daughter trip each year. And he was like, hey man, want to come visit in LA for a father-daughter trip? And I was like, I'm actually in Santa Fe filming a movie, but you could stop by here on the way. And he's like, you know what, screw it. We'll just do our father-daughter trip in Santa Fe. So they did a week in Santa Fe, visited the set of Ridiculous 6, and it was there that Megan met Chris Titone, who is Adam Sandler's brother-in-law, and they started dating on the spot, been together ever since. That's been 6-7 years, and Chris wrote this movie about her father, Sean. So it's a really full circle story of, my relationship with Sean, my relationship with Sandler, Megan and Chris getting together, and then this being a Happy Madison production and a story about a friend of mine. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so Sandler produces it, and when I think about Adam, I think about a guy who is so good to his friends, so inclusive of his family. Yeah. Was that the vibe on set that you got from him? I mean, what kind of environment is it when Adam Sandler's in charge?
It's the best because it's family, it's summer camp. It doesn't feel like work is the best way to describe it. He surrounds himself with amazing human beings. It just feels like you're home when you're on set.
You wrap for the day, you have a choice between, I'm going to hang out with Kevin James or Rob Schneider. I mean, all these legends that you get to surround yourself with when you're working with Adam. There's got to be a lot of perks when Kevin James is someone you're starring opposite. That's a dream role I would take.
Gentlemen, I've been perfecting my recipe for the ultimate energy bar.
Super long! Yeah, especially in a comedy where, like, I don't feel like I can go, toe-to-toe with Kevin James or Rob Schneider, like all these comedy legends.
Little nerve-wracking?
Yeah, to say the least. But he doesn't, or he makes me feel like I can, because he's just such a sweet human being, and it's just, you feel so comfortable with him. Kevin is just a delightful human, and I would work with him for the rest of my career if I could.
I think Home Team's going to be easily #1 on Netflix, and I think the timing is also interesting because Coach Payton has stepped down. That was big news in Saints world, especially Hoda Kotb, who is a massive Saints fan. Quick comment about Coach stepping down after, 15 years with the Saints?
Yeah, 15, 16. Massive, it's so sad. I'm excited for him personally. So I'll definitely be reaching out to him soon to, congratulate him on, what he did for that city, not just the team, but for that city. But yeah, it's tough to see him go, but I'm excited for him.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
To cover the news, you have to be in it.
This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves.
They're pushing the gates open.
Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a critical choke point for this fire. And good evening from New Orleans. Nice to really spend some time with you. Appreciate it.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that.
Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better?
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
You may not want to talk about this, but you definitely trimmed up for this role. What did you do to get in shape for this?
Yeah, dialed in the eating, like a lot of us, 2020 just got away and put on a few pounds. And I just, it more so as a mental thing. Like I just wasn't feeling good.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I need to get back in, a good mental headspace before I go back to work and film this movie. So yeah, it was, getting in shape, but really more so getting this in shape.
Sure. I think sometimes we kind of fall into this trap if we're a fan of any celebrity because we think about someone as, hey, we think of Taylor Lautner. He's the guy from Twilight. He has these washboard abs. That was when you were 16, 17, 18 years old. You're now almost 30 years old. Do you feel a pressure to kind of keep that washboard look?
Hey, beautiful.
Or is that something that you say, that's the past, this is where I'm at now, and live with it?
Well, that's where I've gotten to. I did feel a lot of that pressure because it is tough when you're, 17, 18 years old, and it's a lot easier to look like that than when you're 30.
You can eat anything you want.
Yeah, I had to. Like, for me to look like that when I was 17, I had to consume 5,000 calories a day. Can't do that now. So yeah, for a while, it was an enormous amount of pressure to maintain that, and I think it just got to me, and I sort of rebelled against it. Like, I went years not entering a gym because I was just so turned off by it because that was so much of my life. And then it took getting to a place where it's like, hey, it's okay not to look perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what perfect is. So it took a sec to feel comfortable in my own skin, and I feel like I'm back there now.
You're back. Now you have that healthy relationship with the gym, healthy relationship with, okay, what I'm going to consume and eat, and then, like you said, it all goes back up here. And it helps me a lot too, just being around that. It's great to have that accountability. So yeah. I want to say thank you to Trainer Rye, who's helped us out so much. But there have been some people that have accused you recently of putting thirst trap photos. And when I say accused, in people, I'm talking about myself. You did something not too long ago on your Insta story, my boy. You did a bit of a thirst trap, as the kids say. Can you tell me what was behind that?
Well, if I'm being honest, I looked at myself in the mirror, and for the first time in years, I was like, dang, it's not too bad.
Let's go, baby.
So, I was working out shirtless, and I figured I might as well document this.
Did anybody give you a hard time, or was it just me?
No, it was just you.
What about the DMs? A lot of fans happy about that?
Yeah, the DMs were blowing up a little more than usual, but it felt good. It feels good to be back a little bit.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feels like Christmas or my birthday or something.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody good, and that's it.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves.
They're pushing the gates open.
Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were going to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that.
Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
You said something earlier that was, I couldn't just brush by it. You said fame can come quickly, like that, and then go away quickly. I think it's so interesting, especially now, this TikTok generation, social media generation. It can come, and that can be what everybody wants. Is it safe to say now that fame doesn't bring you happiness?
That's very safe to say. You can't rely on it. But, you know, if I was speaking to anybody, you know, going through that or starting to, I would just, you know, just stay grounded. Remember where you came from. Keep your friends and family close. And, you know, just you can't rely on fame because it definitely does not bring you, you know, happiness. Like, it can bring you temporary happiness, but there's things in life that are a lot more important.
You have great friends, family around you. You have a great fiance around you. Fiance, does that even sound real when I'm saying that right now? You are engaged. Her name is Taylor. When you get married, her name will be Taylor Lautner. That became like a thing on social media. It needs to be addressed. A little pretentious, man.
It's a little narcissistic.
Just a tidbit. But it's been an honor to watch you guys walk together. She is the greatest of the great. Why is she your person? She's also 5 feet away, so you better be careful.
She's someone I strive to be. She's the best person I know. She's gentle and caring and just a really special person. And I feel super, super blessed to have her in my life. She was a large part of getting me back, you know, to where I am today. Huge.
Stop it. I'm good. She's the best, I promise. It's just, it's cool to see it up close.
And she holds me accountable. That's another thing. That's another great thing about her. Is she doesn't let me get away with anything. She don't put up with my BS. She holds me accountable. She's like, Taylor, put the toilet paper roll in the trash. Don't take it off and put it on the ground and put the new one there.
It's good for you.
You know,
you need that.
Leave the dishes right there. Like, just teaching me things that I need to know.
The engagement night was so cool. I'll never forget sharing that big friend hug with you. Can you put some words to that night? How you were feeling and what it meant?
It was the biggest night of my life. It was the biggest moment of my life. That moment is going to be who I am, who we are for the rest of our lives. And I know, you know, if I have her, everything's going to be okay. And I have a lot of people like that in my life now that I'm so thankful for, you being one of them. Yeah, it was a wonderful, magical night. I was so nervous, but
it's normal.
It went perfectly. I couldn't have wished for anything more. It was a beautiful night, and I'm really looking forward to this next chapter.
It is incredibly important to point out that Taylor is a massive Twilight fan. Is it safe to say that fans can marry a movie star? Normally it's this fantasy, oh, I could never spend the rest of my life with fill in the blank. That's what happened here.
It is safe to say, but I'm going to call her out here. She was not Team Jacob. So she is marrying the other team.
Which team was she on?
Oh, she was Team Edward all the way.
She was a Robbie Patz fan?
Oh, yeah.
This is unbelievable. Breaking news. I don't even know if I knew that.
She was diehard Team Edward. But, you know, I've converted her.
Do we know if she slid into Rob's DMs? You might need to talk to your boy.
I should probably. Thankfully, he doesn't have an Instagram.
Oh, yeah, good point.
I know that.
Before we go, you got a big milestone coming up. The big 3-0.
I do.
This is a birthday you can't just brush by.
Yeah.
Do you have thoughts about turning 30? Do you feel 30?
Yeah, I do. And honestly, I mean, people ask me all the time. They're like, you nervous about it? Like, how do you feel? And to be honest, I feel real good. I feel like my 30s are going to be good years. I feel like I have gotten to a place in my life that I feel super happy with. And I feel like I am entering my 30s at the perfect time. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Well said, my boy. You're going to be going to the wine country.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be there with you. Do you have anything planned beyond that, or is that something that Girl Tay is going to handle?
Nothing planned beyond that. We'll celebrate my birthday, and then hers is right after, and then we'll probably get into, thinking wedding. We haven't talked about it too much yet.
I didn't even ask about the wedding, and you're going there.
I thought that's what you were implying.
No, I was simply saying what's going to happen in Napa Valley. Drink some wine, have some food. Guys talking about the wedding already. I am all ears.
We can go back to wine talking.
No, I want to know about the wedding.
No, there is no plans. We're really just we're taking the time to soak this moment and this feeling in because it feels so good, and we're just so excited. But yeah, soon we'll start to think and talk about that.
I love it. I love you, bro. Thank you so much.
I love you.
This means a lot.
And thank you for making me feel comfortable enough to talk about it, because it's important to talk about it. It's important, and I didn't do that for so long. I just kept it all inside and didn't speak to really anyone about it, and that's it's super important too. And you were a huge part of getting that out and getting through that.
I love you, man. Thank you for saying that. It means a lot. I think it's important to talk about our feelings.
Absolutely.
And now you're encouraging me and so many other people out there. So I love you to pieces.
Love you.
Thanks,
you.
brother.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We've got a jam-packed Pop Star Plus for you. On the show today is the woman behind the voice of Bart Simpson. Of course, Nancy Cartwright shared some memories from over 30 years of The Simpsons. And Brian Baumgartner, who played Kevin Malone on The Office, he spoke to us about why fans love The Office so much. And later, Fran Drescher told us why every human should own a pet. And our buddy Leah Remini revealed what she likes to watch. It might surprise some people. All right, that was a good teaser for you. Let's get to today's first item. It's Nancy Cartwright. She might be the most recognizable voice from The Simpsons because she plays Bart Simpson. She's the voice. She's been behind the naughty and rebellious Bart for 30 years in The Simpsons, and she told us what it's been like to be part of such an iconic show.
You know, when I was cast as Bart, it was such a dream come true for me, because I think everybody has a little bit of Bart Simpson in him or her, in them. It's true. We all have these personalities. We're such a conglomeration of so many personalities. I describe Bart Simpson as being a 10-year-old school-hating underachiever and proud of it. That was the description that I read in the original audition when I went. And I was supposed to go in for Lisa, but I decided I wanted to do Bart, and he just seemed more interesting than an 8-year-old middle child. His description was so much more clear. So I went in, and Matt Groening was there, and I had an idea in mind, and I said, blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh my God, that's him, that's Bart. And I was hired, boom, on the spot.
Eat my shorts.
Eat my shorts.
I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you?
I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? I think Bart Simpson has probably got the most catchphrases of anyone. It's, I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? Eat my shorts. Get bent. No way, man. Cowabunga. Whoa, mama. I mean, all these things are like, whoa. Score. It's such a hard question to answer about what's my favorite. It's kind of like asking who's your favorite kid. There's a good handful of episodes that definitely rank up there. Some of my favorites are the musicals. I love the musicals, like Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, that's a really good one, because that's that takeoff on Mary Poppins, and Sherry Bobbins is so funny, and the singing of it is just crazy. If you want to be our sitter, please be sweet and never bitter.
If you wish to be our sitter, please be sweet and never bitter. Help us with math and book reports. Might I add, eat my shorts, Bart?
Oh, when Bart gets an F. That's the title of it. It's the first show of the second season, and kind of humbly speaking, I guess, modestly speaking, that one, it got a lot of attention. And it takes Bart it turns him into, from the first 13 that we did the first season, that episode really shows you a level of Bart Simpson that you had never seen before. And he goes into, he just gets really, really sad. And he's super sincere about how he tried to study. And he starts to cry because he feels like he's going to flunk the 4th grade. And that stands out in my mind.
What's the matter? Well, I would think you'd be used to failing by now.
No, you don't understand. I really tried this time. I really tried.
Early on in the show, it was made very clear to us that the actors are not the stars of the show, that the characters are the stars of the show. And nobody had any problem with that. I don't think anybody had any idea that the show was going to go on, 33 plus years and turn into the icon that it is. But we're all like armpit to armpit, elbow to elbow in one little tiny booth that was not meant for recording in. So we had like moving carpets up on the walls because one big wall was all glass, and when we spoke it would vibrate, so they had to put a carpet in front of it, and we would all share the same microphone, armpit check, and here I am very pregnant. It was a lot of give and take from all of us actors, but it was, I look at that and like, that is such a humble, modest beginning for what came to be, it's pretty cool. When I meet fans, it's like, it's pretty cool because most of the time I'm not recognized. Most of the time I'm just this anonymous celebrity, and it doesn't matter where I am, because I don't look like him, my skin's not yellow, 9 spikes, I'm not a 10-year-old boy. But I can have more causation over revealing who I really am. And so if it's just a spontaneous thing and I'm talking to somebody and I ask them, so what's your name? And they say, oh, my name's Katie. And I'll say, oh, hi, Katie, I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? And it is just like the jaw drops to the ground. And it's equally fun for me. It still is to this day. I love surprising people. And it's kind of a cool thing. It sometimes pops people out of their funk. And isn't that kind of what we need right now? We need some kind of enlightenment. We need some humor, some lightness, some aesthetics. One question that people like to ask me is, why is The Simpsons so successful? How has it lasted this long? And I think it actually doesn't even matter what, this is funny to say this, what decade you look at, because we're in our 3rd decade. That's crazy. But no matter what decade you look at, The Simpsons has a consistency in the business model, in the way that it's done. It's got this family that has its own kind of rules or lack of rules, and they're kind of a nice quote unquote normal family. And I do think they represent a lot of people that can say, wow, that's us. Whether it's The Simpsons or all the citizens of Springfield, it's like people can find things that they can relate to. And that has been such a success, and a tip of the hat to the writers and the executives on the show.
Thanks to Nancy for sharing all those memories with us. Next up, we're revisiting the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company with The Office star Brian Baumgartner.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves.
You can actually see they're pushing the gates open.
Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one?
You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months.
Exactly.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better?
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to Popstar Plus. We have Scranton, Pennsylvania on the mind for this next flashback interview. Hard to believe it's been 17 years since the premiere of The Office, the hit TV show about the work lives of paper company employees. Brian Baumgartner played the lovable Kevin Malone and weighed in on why he thinks people still love the show so much.
At least once a year, I like to bring in some of my Kevin's famous chili.
At least once a year, I like to bring in some of my Kevin's famous chili.
I want to eat pigs in a blanket. In a blanket.
Nope, it's not Ashton Kutcher. It's Kevin Malone. Equally handsome, equally smart.
Well, Kevin Malone, how would I describe Kevin Malone? I think Kevin Malone is a man of some unique skills, who is misunderstood in a way. His childlike sensibility fits into the rest of the ensemble of The Office very well. I had such a blast playing him and continue to be delighted by how fans react to him. I do think that of all of the other actors and characters on The Office, I do think that probably I'm the most dissimilar to mine.
My Kleenex shoes were a huge conversation piece, but man, my dogs are barking.
But, look, I loved his ability to be in the moment. I used to say he has no memory of what happened before or any ramifications for what might happen in the future. But in the moment, if he enjoyed a moment, he was willing to show it. Often didn't think too far ahead, but I had a blast playing with him. And our little group in the corner, the accountants, Oscar and Angela and Kevin, I describe it as kind of a perfect comedy triangle.
Well, I need to give my cat up for adoption.
The one who uses the doorbell, or the one with the Mexican hat, or the one with the rain galoshes, or the one that you let go around naked?
Which had nothing to do with us, which had to do with the writers and the construction of the characters. But the way that the alliances kept shifting, their specific personalities and how they played off of each other was so much fun to do for almost a decade. I think for me now, my favorite episode would have to be Stress Relief, otherwise known as the Dwight's fake fire drill.
Oh, here's a door. Check that one out. How's the handle?
It's warm. Okay, go to the back door.
Another option. Another option. Jeez, okay, settle down, everyone.
And I think, for me now, there's so many great episodes, but I think for me, what was happening outside of the show carries special significance for me as well. So I think it's a hilariously funny, well-written episode.
I saw a friend today, it had been a while. We forgot each other's names.
A lot of things spring to mind thinking about the finale. I basically shot the show in my 30s. My whole 30s was dedicated to being together, which is high school and college, and then 2 more years, spending a lot of time with those people. So, it was really knowing that whatever happened, the friendships would be there, the relationships would remain, but we wouldn't be spending 60 to 70 hours a week together anymore. And that was going to be a huge change for us. So a huge feeling of loss, but also tremendously proud of the journey that we had and the fact that we chose to end it. We had a story that we wanted to tell, and we made sure that we got that story in and told it, largely with the original people who were cast. I mean, I don't think anyone who was on the show could have ever guessed that the show would end up doing, becoming what it has become today. I mean, we almost made a pilot and was never on the air. And then, the fact that an audience picked up on it, I always knew what we were doing was special. If people gave it a chance, I just thought, well, people aren't going to give it a chance. So I'm tremendously proud of the show. As I say to people, I'm a fan of the show and love watching it, and I'm so proud to have been a part of it. In examining through this book that I have coming out, Welcome to Dunder Mifflin, one of the things that we are looking at is why the show has not just survived, but has thrived 8 years after we have filmed anything. And I think that it's really about the people. It's really about the construction of the idea and the aesthetic of the show that was so really revolutionary and groundbreaking at the time, but the hiring of the specific actors to play the roles and the writing staff that was brought in, which are now the top comedy writers in television today. It was just a special and unique collection of people led by Greg Daniels, who, created the show, and his genius in finding the perfect people for their job. That's really why I think.
What a classic. We love that show in our house. Hope you enjoyed that one. Office fans, it was for you. Coming up, we've got nanny star Fran Drescher sharing the key to easing her anxiety. It happens to be her furry friend.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves.
You can actually see they're pushing the gates open.
Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one?
You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months.
Exactly.
Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
What do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning. Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
And welcome back to Popstar Plus. Did you know that Fran Drescher is a huge, huge dog lover? She's even had a famous dog of her own. Get this, Chester, that's the dog on The Nanny, was actually Fran's real-life dog. She told us all about that and how her pets have shaped her life in this episode of our series, My Pet Tale.
I starred on The Nanny, and I wrote a part for my first dog ever, Chester Drescher.
Oh, Chester, I haven't seen you in such a long time.
Nanny, fine, please. He doesn't like strangers.
Chester was an amazing dog because he was extremely consistent in his behavior. We knew what he would do under certain circumstances, so we wrote towards that. And that was why every time, Cece Babcock grabbed him away from me, we knew that he would growl.
Oh, how thoughtful.
So we always had her do that.
You need some time to get used to. I mean, you can't expect a dog to just jump into your arms and love you at first sight.
Mr. Sheffield. Oh, you got her a puppy? Oh, how sweet. Oh, look how friendly he is.
And it was great working with him because he was always on the set anyway. I'm always of the camp must love dogs. I have a dog now, Angel Grace, and I rescued her just days before lockdown, and then she rescued me. And for the first couple of months of our relationship at my house, you know, it was just her and me. I don't think she really knew what was happening, but all of a sudden, you know, it was just the two of us for a couple of months. And so it really did bond us. And we're very, very close now. And she's 3 years old. And I travel with her, and she's my service animal. So I'm just very grateful to have the first big dog I've ever had. And, you know, she gives me added security and helps me through situations that sometimes would otherwise make me anxious. She's kind of different shades of white and bone, and I thought she was so loving when I met her at the rescue place, and so sweet that I said, you know, are you an angel? Did Samson send you to me? And Samson was the dog that sadly had died just days earlier from a stroke. I said, are you an angel? Is that your name? And it just seemed suitable to her because she is such an angel. She is definitely a big part of the family. She's got all these other mothers who come and take care of her if I have to go out of town and I can't take her with me. Dog is God spelled backwards, and I think that dogs are here to teach us unconditional love, to remind us that there's room in our hearts to love another, even if you've loved and lost. And I think that every human should experience unconditional love. It's just a bond between two species that really is unparalleled. I just, you know, couldn't live without having a canine to love and care for and feel loved by and share my bed with. Just be there as a friend and a companion and company. They're wonderful company. In fact, as a cancer survivor, you know, I always tell other people recently diagnosed, make sure your pet sleeps in the bed with you, because at night is when your imagination and fear starts to run wild because you don't have the distractions of the day. And if you don't have a pet, get one.
Well, it's really nice to hear people's pet stories. They mean so much. All right, still to come, Leah Remini breaks down her must-watch list.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves.
They're pushing the gates open.
Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were going to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that. Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
And welcome back. We absolutely love learning more about our friend Leah Remini. When she can't fall asleep, she turns to one particular show, and it just might surprise you. She spoke to us for our What I Watch series.
When I have to fall asleep, when I can't fall asleep, I put on Forensic Files. Don't know why. Listening to stories, people being murdered, gets me to sleep. That's probably, I mean, a psychologist would probably have an answer.
It was a delivery he never expected.
The older version of Forensic Files, the guy's voice, it's so soothing. And he's like, and then they found her decapitated. Something about the guy's voice. I don't know what it is. What I watch when I need comfort food is a reality show. Pick any one, Housewives of any state, or I watch a Love Island, or I watch Below Deck, basically Bravo. What I love about reality shows in general is that I just feel like it takes me away, like it's a mind vacation. I find myself not multitasking in my brain, like when I'm watching something that's newsworthy. I start to think about all the things I need to do in my life, things I'm not doing right. I think I should be a better daughter, a better mother, a better this, a better aunt, a better sister, But when I watch reality shows, it's almost like my mind is suspended. It is literally frozen. And I mean, the picture I get of myself while I'm watching reality shows is just kind of drool. It isn't, but that's what I picture myself doing because it's so mind-numbing. My daughter Sophia got me onto Love Island, but only UK versions. Like, we find that to be the better versions of Love Island. It's a little riskier. So I really tend to go to those, or like I'll watch a marathon of like Say Yes to the Dress. It's the not having to think about changing the channel or, so it's usually if I see there's 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons of something, I'm in, because then somehow I like fall asleep and then I'm like, wait, well, how'd I get on season 4? And it's just anything that has multiple seasons. What I watch that might surprise people, I don't know that what I watch might surprise people. I do watch a lot of documentaries. I don't know that that's surprising to people, but when people talk about documentaries, they're like, you probably haven't seen this. I'm like, seen it. Like, I'll watch a documentary on flies. Like, I just love documentaries. It doesn't really matter what it is. I just love real stories.
Sitting here in traffic on the Queensboro Bridge tonight.
I didn't need to prepare for the King of Queens because I am Carrie. There's no need for me to prep. Oh, she's a girl from Brooklyn married to a neighborhood guy who has a crazy father in her basement. Like, there was nothing I needed to prep for. I knew the character. I know the character very well. But you know what's funny about the King of Queens is that I remember our producers, when I first got the role, we did a pilot and our executive producer was like, why are you wearing makeup? And I was like, first of all, have you been to a borough in New York? Like, what I mean? Like Queens, Brooklyn. The idea of what a borough, was like, they don't get their nails done, they don't wear makeup. And I was like, first of all, everything from a borough, like I'm from Bensonhurst. Don't tell me, like, I didn't have a lot of money growing up, but my stuff was coordinated. Like my outfits were matching the shirt, back in my day, it was matching your shirt with your socks and like everything was color coordinated. So like the idea of what somebody from New York is like was so off that I was like, no, this girl gets her nails done, this girl gets her hair done, this girl, like, because this girl is me. So we're not doing sweatpants and I go, and by the way, if we wear sweatpants, it's color coordinated. What I watched when I did a good cry, oh God. Terms of Endearment, The Notebook, Steel Magnolias. It's about friendships, it's about family, it's about losing people that you love. I mean, it's just, and The Notebook just kills me. Every time. There's not a time. And then Moulin Rouge. I know that sounds crazy, but I cry every time. Every time she dies. Every time. I've seen it 56 times, probably just in the last year. It's a Wonderful Life. Every holiday, crying. Every time. Every time. What I watch with my family is anything my daughter wants to watch. It's not done by votes or even what her parents would want to watch, because as they get older, they have their own rooms, they have their own computers, they can watch whatever they want to watch. So if my daughter says, I want to watch such and such with you guys, I'm like, okay, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Whatever she wants to watch, I'm like, I will watch.
Thanks to Leah for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Well, there you have it. That was today's Popstar Plus. Thanks for being here, and join us again tomorrow. We'll see you then. Bye.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Glad you are here for our digital show today in 30. We've got Craig in the house. Hoda's got a day off. It's her birthday.
Yes.
Happy birthday,
She's
Hoda.
celebrating by not working. Happy birthday, Hoda Copy. We got a big show for you, so let's get right to the headlines. And, of course, we are going to start with the very latest on that FBI search of former President Trump's home and club in Florida.
Yeah, we got reaction to that from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. She was our live guest, her first interview since returning home from that headline-making visit to Taiwan. We had a wide-ranging conversation with her. That's just ahead.
And then we are going to celebrate the remarkable life of Olivia Newton-John. She visited today many, many times through the years. We're going to look back at some of those special moments that she shared with us, going all the way back to Greece.
Oh, we loved her so much. And then, how about a game of Password? Our buddy Jimmy Fallon was here earlier helping to reboot the iconic game show. It actually premieres tonight. We got in on some of the fun this morning. It was an epic battle. We got Craig and Al versus me and Chanel. What happens? It all comes up on
Today in 30.
Let's get started this morning with NBC's senior national correspondent, Kerry Sanders. He's outside Mar-a-Lago for us this morning. Kerry, good morning.
Well, good morning, Savannah. You can see there are still some protesters here. Just beyond there is Mar-a-Lago. A senior U.S. official tells NBC News that the FBI spent much of Monday here at Mar-a-Lago. Another official telling NBC News that they were searching for documents that the former president allegedly brought with him after he left office to Mar-a-Lago. Mr. Trump saying that this is all a case of political persecution, but veteran FBI agents say that it would take a very high bar for a federal judge to sign off on a search warrant. Overnight, supporters gathering outside former President Donald Trump's private club Mar-a-Lago. Trump in New York, departing Trump Tower and ignoring questions from reporters.
Mr. Trump, can we get your reaction to the raid, sir?
In a statement issued just before 7 o'clock Monday night, Mr. Trump said Mar-a-Lago was under siege, raided, and occupied by a large group of FBI agents, claiming it was unannounced and portraying himself as the victim of political persecution, adding, "They even broke into my safe." According to a source familiar with the search, it was related to classified information the former president allegedly took with him to Mar-a-Lago after leaving the White House. In February, the National Archives announced that classified material was discovered in 15 boxes of White House records stored at the estate, referring the matter to the Justice Department. Eric Trump says he told his father about the search.
To have 30 FBI agents, actually more than that, descend on Mar-a-Lago, give absolutely, no notice, go through the gate, start ransacking an office, ransacking a closet. They broke into a safe. He didn't even have anything in the safe.
Republicans overnight, criticizing the search. Senator Lindsey Graham writing, launching such an investigation of a former president this close to an election is beyond problematic. The Justice Department is also pursuing a separate investigation into January 6th. Last month, Attorney General Merrick Garland telling Lester Holt that an election would not affect their efforts.
So if Donald Trump were to become a candidate for president again, that would not change your schedule or how you move forward or don't move forward?
I'll say again that we will hold accountable anyone who is criminally responsible for attempting to interfere with the legitimate, lawful transfer of power from one administration to the next.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
And what do you love about fatherhood?
The chaos, the learning.
Is climate change one of your top priorities?
What's your message to girls who want to make a difference in their own communities?
Believe in yourself.
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
You open the door for so many people.
I love working with people. I did not do any of this by myself.
Hello! Lizzo, you put a smile on every single face.
It feels like Christmas or my birthday or something.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better?
We have a lot to discuss this morning with Speaker Pelosi, who is joining us for her first interview since returning to Washington. Speaker Pelosi, good morning. It's good to have you with us this morning.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Well, let's start with the news. Breaking news, the FBI carrying out that surprise warrant, a search of Mar-a-Lago, the former president's home, looking for evidence. What do you make of that search? How significant does this strike you to be?
Well, I, as others, learned on my phone that had happened, so I don't know very much about it. But again, I'm sure that information will be revealed, and when it does, we'll find out what they were looking for. It seems to have something to do with presidential documents, but I really am not in a position to talk about it because all I know is what's in the public domain.
Does it strike you as a pretty serious step for the Justice Department to take?
Yes, I think it does. I was questioning it because all I saw on my phone was that Donald Trump said that the visit took place and described it in pretty harsh terms. It would be interesting to find out exactly what the warrant was in order to have, what the order was to have a search warrant and for what purpose. But again, we can only speculate.
And before we leave it, I just want to mention House Republican leader, your counterpart, Kevin McCarthy, put out a statement responding to the search. And he said, in part, when Republicans take back the House, we will conduct immediate oversight of this Justice Department. Attorney General Garland, preserve your documents and clear your calendar. Do you have a response?
Well, first of all, I think the Democrats are going to win the House. We've been prepared for it for a long time. And now with what's happening with Roe v. Wade and the legislation that we are passing, I think that whatever the leader is saying is probably idle. But nonetheless, we believe in the rule of law, and that's what our country is about, and no person is above the law, not even the President of the United States, not even a former president of the United States.
Let's turn now to your visit to Taiwan. You made history. You were the first speaker to visit in, I guess, more than a generation, 25 years. The visit has resulted in considerable blowback, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But my question to you initially is why now? You received briefings. The risks were laid out to you. What was the cost-benefit analysis that you conducted? Why was it important to make this trip now?
Well, the fact is we were supposed to make it a couple of months ago, but because of COVID, it was postponed. I'm very proud of the delegation, the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Mr. Meeks, the chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee, Mr. Takano, the vice chair of the Ways and Means Committee, Congresswoman Del Bene, Andy Kim of New Jersey, who was a diplomat before coming to Congress, as well as Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, who was a member of the Intelligence Committee. It was like a 6-person co-chair committee. A lot of attention was paid to Taiwan, and that's right. But it was a bigger visit than that. It followed on the president's direction that we would have a focus on the Asia Pacific. It also took up his initiative of the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. So we went there to listen. It's important for us to have parliamentary to parliamentary exchanges as we again go forward with a new initiative.
Madam Speaker,
and
just to jump in here.
In Singapore, in Singapore we had, in all of the countries, we thanked the members of ASEAN and our Asian friends for their very strong support for the people of Ukraine and condemning Russia for their invasion. In all of the places that we brought our respect and to listen to what they had to say about how we go forward, security-wise, economic-wise, as well as in the terms of governance.
Well, let me just jump in here
because was a part of that trip.
Yes, and only because time is short, I really want to make sure we get into this, because there are reasons to take a trip like that, but as you well know, especially with foreign policy, national security, it often comes down to trade-offs and timing. Was it worth it now that you see the response? China has taken...
Absolutely, without any question.
Okay, because China has made a series of stunningly aggressive military moves in Taiwan. I mean, unprecedented in terms of the security of Taiwan. Was it worth it to make this trip now if that was the response from China?
I have overwhelming bipartisan support for our visit to Taiwan. As Speaker of the House and with the distinguished delegation that I went there with, we were very well received, thousands of people in the streets, received by the President of Taiwan, buildings with big welcoming to us. The people of Taiwan welcomed the visit. The Chinese government may not have, but China will not be allowed to isolate Taiwan. But a couple months ago, a delegation went from the Senate. It was bipartisan, it was high-powered, including the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee. Nobody said a word. Nobody said a word. Did you even know about that trip? So I am not going to, again, as a supporter of democracy in China, but this is about democracy in Taiwan. We cannot allow the Chinese government to isolate Taiwan. They may say to them, you can't go to the World Health Organization, but they're not going to say who can go to Taiwan. And yes, it was worth it. And what the Chinese are doing is what they usually do.
Even if it's on the Chinese, I think the administration is clear that, whatever crisis is upon us now, it is the Chinese who are the instigators of this crisis. That said, was it not foreseeable that they would react this way? And on the issue of timing, this comes at the very moment that the Biden administration is trying to work with China to hold off China from rearming Putin in Ukraine. So as you well know, there are multiple levels of chess here. So the question is whether a symbolic trip, important as it may be, in any way undermines some of those other also quite important objectives that the administration has.
Well, it may appear to be symbolic to you, but it was very substantial to us. For us to listen to the people in the region about our full agenda, but also not to say we're not going to Taiwan because the Chinese may act up. The president, as is his responsibility, is usually in touch with the Chinese about one thing or another, whether it's climate, and I think we have to work with China on the subject of climate.
They have closed dialogue on that since your visit. I guess that's the point.
What dialogue were you aware of that they were having on climate? They have been shutting down on many things. So again, this thing of, oh, but they were going to be doing this and they were going to be doing that. Let's just say this is not something that should be dividing us. We are not going to let China isolate Taiwan. And if if they can ignore a trip of 5 senators in a bipartisan way, why would they decide on my trip that it would be different? It's only a matter of months. And even about a few weeks before we went, a Republican senator went to Taiwan. So again, there's something wrong with this picture. And I'm used to taking the barbs about the men think it's this or that, but a woman goes, and it's a woman president of Taiwan. We are so proud of her. We want to support her courage. And every place I went, we were invited to go. So it is a question of what they think is important to them rather than some, again, a very strong bipartisan support for the trip. Yeah. But you know what? Why don't we just show China that we support Taiwan? It is part of the Taiwan Relations Act. We didn't go there to change our policy. We still support the One China policy. We go there to acknowledge the status quo is what our policy is. There was nothing disruptive about that. It was only about saying China is one of the freest societies in the world. Don't take it from me. That's from Freedom House.
Let's talk a little bit.
Democracy, courageous people, and it's just, I don't know why it is, except there's some commercial interest who would like to diminish the relationship. But we're very, well, tomorrow we'll have a press conference. You'll hear from my other members about the pride we took in going there, the reception we received, the fact that the Chinese are going to do what they're going to do. And just because the president of Taiwan is a bully, the president of China acts like a bully, has his own insecurities, it doesn't mean that I'm going to have him do the schedule for members of Congress. Members of Congress can show their support for countries and democracies who are our friends. And according to the Taiwan Policy Act, Taiwan is our friend.
Speaker Pelosi, we're really out of time. The filibuster exists in the House too, right? Let me quickly ask you though about midterm politics, if I could, which is, clearly the president has just notched a victory. This bill has passed in the Senate, very delicate. I don't have to tell you about the dance legislatively that took place. Will you ask your members to pass it as is so that this bill can get across the finish line?
Yes. Let's start with what it does for kitchen table issues for the American people. Lower health care costs, lower prescription drug costs. This is historic that for the first time, HHS, Secretary of Health and Human Services, was able to negotiate for lower prescription drug prices, again with the subsidies lowering health care costs. It's remarkable. And then in terms of creating jobs and also saving our planet for for now and for future generations. It's remarkable. Our members are very pleased, and quite a bit of what is in the bill is what we had worked together, House and Senate, to do. Wow. It doesn't have everything we had in the bill, but we're very pleased with what is in there.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, sorry to cut you off. I wish we had more time, but hopefully we'll get to have another conversation in the future. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better?
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that. Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
We are back celebrating the incredible life and legacy of Olivia Newton-John.
She was a beloved friend of today for more than 4 decades, ever since she sang her way into our hearts as Sandy in Grease. And over the years, we got a glimpse of her life beyond Hollywood and also a glimpse of the challenges that she faced.
Olivia was always radiant. She was always spreading positivity and generosity. A look back at some of the special moments we shared with her right here on Today. Olivia Newton-John has always been the one that we wanted.
Grease is now a movie of which you are a star, and that is your first movie. Did John Travolta get you to make that movie?
When I met him, he said that he had suggested me in the very beginning, and eventually they came around to the same way of thinking, thank goodness.
You dance, and you sing, and you act?
Yes.
Are you a better singer than you are an actress?
I'm sure. That's yet to be proved. You have to go and see it and tell me.
She proved it and then some, and she stopped by today to mark her other career-defining moments.
The furor over Let's Get Physical. Did you look at her suppress a laugh? Did it surprise you first off?
I knew there was going to be some kind of furor over it. I didn't know to what extent.
Does your success surprise you?
But I don't think I ever believed that I would be the success that I am. I still don't believe it. It's almost like it's somebody else.
She even helped us out with some performances of our own.
Hi, Savannah. This is Olivia Newton-John, and I'm standing here with my Sandy 2 outfit from Grease. And I heard a rumor that you're going to dress up as me for Halloween. So here's some tips for you. Red high heels, lots of red lipstick, curly hair, and lots of attitude. Have fun.
That's amazing. How about that? Thanks for Olivia Newton-John.
I was on the Today Show. And one of the girls on the Today Show told me that she wanted to be a pink lady. And I'm so excited to invite Natalie Morales to the stage to be a pink lady for tonight. Here she comes.
Olivia also spoke out over the years about her health struggles while always keeping that amazing spirit.
Olivia, you had some health problems, which I know from personal experience is a very life-altering thing.
I had breast cancer 6 years in May. I feel very positive. I feel very good. Yeah.
What has cancer taught you about yourself?
I think it taught me I'm stronger than I thought I was, because even though it really, in the end, it's up to you. Believe you can do it and to go through it. So it made me stronger.
You know what I see when I look in your eyes? I see the optimism that I saw when Jane Pauley interviewed you.
Oh, you're so sweetheart.
Is that just part of what's inside?
I think it's been my blessing in life to have that in my personality, or I don't know how I would have done otherwise.
A long time ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I was incredibly healthy. And I remember them finding a lump, and I said, "Oh, you must be mistaken."
I'm really sorry you went through that. I didn't know that about you. So are you well now? Are you feeling good?
Yes, I am feeling good. By the way, I'm just going to pause for a second. Oh, another wonderful thing about you is what you just did there. Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Thank you for asking.
We're sisters. You know, anyone that has gone on this journey with cancer, it's unknown destinations and surprises and turns.
Olivia was still always grateful for her path and focused on the force behind her greater success, her family.
The first person I thought of was Chloe.
She could have asked anyone to sing it with her, and she asked me. That touched my heart more than you could ever know.
I'm just grateful for every day. I feel so lucky to have had the amazing life that I've had.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that. Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Who's this?
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
It premiered in 1961. It is making a triumphant return tonight right here on NBC. It's hosted by Keke Palmer. It stars our pal, Jimmy Fallon.
I'm so happy.
Jimmy's going to lead us in a game in a minute. But Jimmy, first of all, how did this all come about?
We did the game on a show with Betty White, because obviously Betty White was the classic permanent guest on Password. She met her husband, Alan Ludden, on the show. So we asked Betty if we could play Password. She was, of course, the best ever. So we just kept playing it on our show, and then we go, why is it not on TV? We should bring it back. It was on for 16 years.
Yeah. And it's the kind of show everyone can watch. Kids, adults, I mean, everybody wants to play.
It's so easy to play. You give a clue, and then you have to give a one-word clue back. And we try to raise $25,000 for our contestants. So
and do you have celebrity guests? Like who's on the show?
John Hamm is on tonight. So who is awesome. Well, coming off Top Gun Maverick. We have Chelsea Handler, J.B. Smoove, Martin Short.
Oh, it's a funny show, too.
It is ridiculous. Martin Short was unbelievable. He came out, and I go, Marty! And he pushed me out of the way with his hand and hugged Keke Palmer.
Oh, my gosh.
Keke Palmer is fantastic, by the way.
Oh.
We have such a great chemistry, and she's the host, and she crushes it.
Well, show us
all right.
Oh, yeah, they're telling us to get to the game.
Okay.
They've turned all the monitors off in the studio. This is serious.
All right, it's on tonight after America's Got Talent. Here, we're going to start the password. We're going to start here. Savannah, I'll give you a password. Craig, you will get a password. Okay. You will hear it right now at home. They'll say what the password is.
The password is?
You can look at it. Don't show Al. Don't look at Chanel.
And then my clue, so do I do a clue?
Yeah, it's your favorite. You can play or pass.
Oh, and it's only one word?
Only one word.
Okay, all right. Juice.
Orange.
What? You had a great run. You had a good run, buddy. It's over.
They clearly
That's it. They clearly. Al,
It's a mind melt.
That's Chanel. Good job, by the way. You nailed it.
All right. Your turn?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Al,
The
that's
password is?
That's a good reaction right there, Al.
Twinkle. Star. No.
That's good. That's good.
So I have the same word?
So twinkle, you have the same word. No, turn it the other way.
So I can take in.
Yes.
Oh.
He said twinkle.
Twinkle. Now I see why you hesitated. Okay, I'm going to go a whole nother route.
You're getting so serious. Look at Chanel is so serious at this. Oh my
Is there a time limit, Jimmy?
Movie. Is that too obscure?
Wait.
She's saying so much more than one word. It's hilarious.
Always.
Star Wars?
No. Okay. Do we keep going?
Movie, you got twinkle.
Can people at home see the word right now, Jimmy?
They can see.
Yeah, and they can hear the word.
And they're
Glitter.
screaming at the TV right now.
Glitter. Magic.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what are the clues
Ready?
on
No,
the
we
table
got
so
this.
All right,
far?
glitter, twinkle, movie.
Fairy.
Oh, what the heck is her name? Cinderella?
Oh, so close.
I'm going to stop it right there. Just give it the time.
What? It's over?
Sparkle. was the word.
Sparkle. That's a
Sparkle. All right, let's do one more. Here you go, Savannah.
Okay.
Here you go, Craig. Savannah,
The
you go first. Here we go.
password is script.
Can I use? Can
I know
point
the
to things?
show is going to be much better than this.
Can you point at
Okay.
things?
No, I'm sorry.
Wait.
Can you gesture?
No.
Writing.
Literature.
But she said it with such passion.
Writing. Yes, you hear it. Writing.
What made me think like that?
Writing.
Well, you gotta give what the good Lord gave you. Okay.
Movie.
Writing. Movie.
Theater.
Okay, come on.
I'm ready. You've got the other.
I'm ready. Yep.
Screenplay.
Script.
Right there, the champ, Savannah Chanel. Oh my gosh, it was a pleasure to play. Good Sparkle on the top. I love it.
Can we come on the show?
Please come on the show. Please come on the
We'll
show.
never hear the end of this, by the way.
Maybe it's because
Thank you so much. So it's on tonight. I think you'll love it. It's just like this. It gets crazy.
fun.
My
It
heart
gets
is
crazy.
racing.
It gets so competitive. People go nuts.
I
Get
should have
ready.
gone with screenplay.
Oh my gosh. Do we have time for an acceptance speech?
All right. Thank you, Jimmy.
It's taken a long time for us to get to this. Oh, sorry, just do the tease.
It's
Okay.
gonna be a fun show.
Jimmy, this is going to be great.
So good.
I'm excited.
Will you come back and play with us again?
That was
our show.
Yes. All right. He's back on the 4th hour, too. Don't miss. Well, I'm not going to miss it. Tonight's premiere, Password 10, 9 Central, right here on NBC. We'll hope you join us again tomorrow on Today. And remember, come back right here because we do this Today in 30 thing. Well, we do it every day.
Every day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yo, Today All Day, up next on Hashtag Cooking, Sama Dada has the cure to your midday munchies. She's going to whip up 4 easy snacks so you'll always be prepared when hunger strikes. First up, Sama making one of Hoda's favorite sweet treats, dates stuffed with almond butter that can be served hot or cold. Then she bakes up a simple, super maple almond granola. And finally, she's making popcorn that's spiced with garam masala. Say bye-bye to butter with a spicy snack.
I'll just say this, okay? If you have a first date with one of these dates, you will be having more. I can't with myself. I cannot go a single day without snacking. Whether I'm at home or on the go, it is simply hashtag always snack time. Honestly, a world without snacking is simply not one I want to live in. So I cannot wait to show you 3 of my favorite weekly snack staples, my delicious stuffed dates, warm and frozen, my nutty maple granola, and my delicious masala popcorn. I love dates, and no, I'm not talking about the romantic kind, I'm talking about the medjool kind. They are my favorite sweet snack to eat throughout the day, and I'm going to show you how to make them 2 ways, warmed and stuffed and frozen and dipped in chocolate. Most dates come with pits, so I've actually already pitted these. I've got about 10 here, so I'm just going to now take them on a little journey to the microwave for about 10 to 15 seconds just to get them really nice and warm and juicy. Who needs a first date or a second date when you have 10 dates ready to be stuffed with almond butter? Warming the dates brings out their already naturally golden and caramel flavor, and then when you stuff them with almond butter, the heat actually allows the almond butter to melt so it gets really nice and gooey and delicious. I really already want to eat one right now. Okay, we're gonna start stuffing them. So I've got a creamy almond butter here. You can also use a crunchy almond butter. You can use a peanut butter, a cashew butter. If there are any nut butters that you're harboring in your pantry, this will be a great time to use them. I'm pretty generous here. I would say I use about a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons just because I like a lot of almond butter, but you can totally choose however amount works best for your life. Because we've pitted the dates, it actually serves as a really nice pocket for the almond butter to just sit in, a little home, you know? It's like this date was meant for almond butter. You know what I mean? Right? Good form, I think. And I'm just gonna continue with the rest of my dates. So actually, Hoda saw this recipe on my Instagram and has now deemed it to be her favorite snack.
You take a date, and remember I told you the whole thing?
Yes.
You nuke it, you put in some dark chocolate and some
I thought
almond
you put-
butter.
yeah.
You know what I like? I like the melted chocolate in the peanut buttery nut butter thing with the salt.
So Hoda, if you're watching this, it's for you. You can kind of see how when I put the almond butter inside this little pocket, it starts to melt a little bit and looks so gooey. Oh, it's like a little river of almond butter that I want to swim in. It's a lucky date. I crack only myself up. So for this recipe and a lot of the other recipes I make using dates, you want to make sure you're buying the medjool kind. I'll just say this, okay? You have a first date with one of these dates. You will be having more. I can't with myself. Someone's got to hold me back for making another date joke because it will happen again. Okay, wait, this guy needs a little more almond butter. I'm so sorry I neglected you for a second. Okay. Okay, I am drowning in almond butter. All of my dates have been stuffed with the almond butter. They look really nice. They look ready to go out on a date. I need to stop. I'm done, I promise. Now that I'm done stuffing all of the dates, I'm just gonna top it with a little bit of sea salt, just to bring out that sweetness and balance everything out really nicely. I sometimes also like to use a salted almond butter too, and that's gonna really create that naturally salty sweet combination, which we love. All right, and there you have it. My favorite warm stuffed dates, my coffee companion, my favorite date.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now.
We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Hey, who's this? Tonight, I interviewed Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg about the ongoing delays. You seem to be pointing the finger at the airlines. They're pointing the finger back. Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? We'll meet Ukrainians who are defending their country one block at a time. When you were still in Kiev, could you hear the bombing? My name is Lester. Hey, who's this?
Welcome back to Today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Yamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
In my opinion, you can never have enough dates, so I'm going to show you how to make another recipe using dates. They're frozen, stuffed with almond butter, and then dipped in chocolate. So we've got our dates already pitted, and now we're going to just go ahead and stuff them straight with almond butter. This should feel pretty familiar. Again, we're going to have the almond butter find a nice little home in this pocket that we've created by pitting the dates. And remember, we are going to be submerging these in chocolate, so we want to make sure that we don't overfill it with almond butter so that it gets a bit messy, even though we love a bit of messy chocolate. So sometimes when I look at my freezer and I'm like, where did all of the ice cream go? I make these instead. They're also super quick to pull together and use mostly what you have in the pantry. And if you're not keeping dates in your pantry now, take this as your sign to start. If you have a nut allergy, you can even use a tahini or a sunflower seed butter as well. And then when you're done freezing them, they seriously taste like a candy bar. I know you think I'm crazy, but they do, I promise. I eat them for dessert. I eat them as a snack during the day. There's so many things you can do with them. They really are the perfect date. Dates are the perfect date. They are. I'm sorry. And now for my chocolate. All I'm gonna do is melt it in the microwave with a little bit of coconut oil. This is gonna help it get nice and smooth and glossy. We're gonna do this in 10 to 15 second increments, and we're gonna keep stirring throughout so it gets really nice and smooth. Put that straight in there. Got my spoon at the ready for stirring, and now I'm gonna head to the microwave. Go back in the microwave. Now it is time to take our dates for a little swim in chocolate. I think they're excited about this, I'm not sure. Here's what we're gonna do. Grab a date, just drop it straight into the chocolate. Don't worry, it likes this. Roll it around so that the entire date is coated. Make sure you get that residual chocolate to kind of drip off the sides of the spoon like this. And now we're just gonna place it back onto our parchment paper. And now we're going to chocolate swim and repeat. This is like a very luxurious bath, I have to say, for the dates. Because we've stuffed these dates with almond butter, we want to make sure we're rolling it in the chocolate a little bit gently, just so that the almond butter doesn't come out. It's okay if you get a little messy here. It's part of the game. It's part of the date. No, that wasn't good. Serve this to your next date. That was better. That was good. That was good. Will I ever stop making date jokes after this? No. Don't expect me to stop. No, it's not gonna happen. It's part of my brand now. One final date. Now, just for good measure, I'm gonna add a little drizzle of chocolate on top. It's gonna make it look really pretty. I don't believe in less is more when it comes to chocolate. I think we always need more chocolate. If you don't like chocolate, I wanna understand you. Please drop me a line. But also, if you don't like chocolate, that's fine. Like, it's totally okay. But I still wanna understand you. Okay. Now I'm just gonna top them with a little flaky sea salt. This is really gonna bring out that sweetness, balance out the chocolate. It is the perfect combination. I'm using a flaky sea salt as well, so it looks really pretty and a little fancy. Okay, we're salted. And now we're ready for the freezer. Can we take a moment? Look at how cute they look. These dates are ready for their date. Gotta stop making date jokes. Okay. These are honestly so good because of the chocolate, because of the almond butter, and that little flaky sea salt. They seriously taste like a candy bar. America's favorite candy bar. You know what I'm talking about. Plating my hot dates with my frozen dates. We're going on a lot of dates today. They honestly look so good. I love them. You know what? I need to take a picture of these to send to Hoda. I know this is her favorite snack. She's gonna love the chocolate ones too. These dates are fully ready for their close-up. It's almost unfair. All right, got the shot. I think it's time for me to taste. Look at that. It is so good. The dates are so sweet. The almond butter worked so well. That salt, it's making everything come to life. I knew there's a reason why I eat these every day. Now that my dates are done, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Let's keep this between us. Granola is super easy to make at home. I'm gonna get the ingredients so I can show you how.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now. Hallie Jackson Now. Weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
Live from Ukraine, from Uvalde, Texas, from Mayfield, Kentucky. To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. You can actually see they're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told. No. Do you remember any tornado as bad as this one? You look at this and you're thinking, we're not going to have power for weeks, if not months. Exactly. Every night, it's your news playlist.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Welcome back to you today. We got a lot to celebrate on this Wednesday morning. It's good to have you along with us.
You don't know when your moment's coming, but when it does, you take it.
Everybody's good, and that's it.
For breaking news in our changing world, download the NBC News app.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Top Story with Tom Llamas. Weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Granola is one of my favorite things to make at home. It's super versatile, so you can eat it solo, just munch on it as you're going about your day, or serve it with your favorite yogurt or milk. I'm going to show you how to make my favorite nutty maple granola. For any granola recipe, I like to separate my wet and dry ingredients. We want to make sure that all of the ingredients are thoroughly incorporated, so that's why I'm going to do this. I've got some melted and cooled coconut oil here, and I'm just going to add the rest of my ingredients. I'm using some of my almond butter. And this is going to serve as a really nice mixture for the oats and nuts and seeds and whatever else we're adding to this granola to really cling onto, so we can get those really crunchy clusters. And clusters are why we're all eating granola in the first place anyway, right? Almond butter is in. To sweeten it up, we're gonna add some maple syrup. This is the maple portion of my nutty maple granola. Maple adds this really nice golden richness to the granola. It's so good. It's really lightly sweet, so it's not too sweet. I've got all my wet ingredients in my bowl, and now I'm just gonna whisk it until it's nice and smooth. Be careful here. Wear an apron. I don't do it, but you should. We're whisking, and we're whisking. And I just wanna whisk this until it's nice and smooth, making sure that all of the ingredients are thoroughly incorporated. Okay, wet ingredients, we're gonna set them aside. They're gonna hang out for later. And now I'm gonna get to work on my dry ingredients. Because I like to maximize the presence of clusters in my granola, it's very important to me, I'm gonna crush my nuts before I add them into my oats. So in order to do this, all you have to do, add your nuts into any sort of bag, take a rolling pin or even a bottle, and just get your stress out, like this. You can also roll them if you're more delicate, but I'm really going for it today. I promise I'm a very patient person in general. We want them to be coarsely crushed, but it's okay if we have some bigger or smaller pieces because it's nice to have some texture with our granola. We like the crunch. Okay? I've got my bowl of oats right here. And now I'm just gonna add all of my dry mix-ins in. Adding my pecans in here. my stress pecans, the result of my stress pecans. I should also say that if you've got any nuts or seeds that have just been hanging out in your pantry for a little too long, this is a great opportunity to use them up. I'm adding some almonds in now. Just gonna use some cinnamon here. You can also use some nutmeg if you'd like, really whatever you'd like. And then we're gonna add a little pinch of salt. And now I'm just gonna fold in all of my dried ingredients together. Make sure everyone gets to know each other. It's very friendly granola. Now that I've mixed all of my dry ingredients together, I'm just gonna add in my wet ingredients and mix everything together. Okay. Here we go. It's very aesthetically pleasing. This wet mixture is really what's gonna help this granola have clusters, so I like to make sure when I am mixing both the wet and dry ingredients together that everything is really nicely coated. Okay, listen closely. The really important thing when you're making granola is to make sure that everyone has some personal space. So we wanna make sure that all of the oats and nuts in this entire mixture is spread out in a very even layer so everyone has room to breathe. By spreading everything out, we're also gonna make sure it bakes in a very even and crisp layer. And we're just patting everything down really gently, spreading it out nicely. We don't want to pat anything too hard to crush any of the nuts. Now that everything is spread out, I'm just going to go bake in the oven at 325 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes. While our granola is baking, we want to make sure that we're stirring it every 10 to 15 minutes so we can ensure an even and crisp bake. Spread it out evenly again, and then back in the oven we go. The secret to super crispy, crunchy, clustery granola is actually letting it cool completely before you break it apart and serve it. I know it's tempting, but just don't touch it for a little bit, okay? This granola is completely cool, so now I'm just gonna break it apart and add it to my plate. I mean, you just can't. You can't say no to this. This is crazy. Look at how crunchy. The clusters are what I live for. It's the only reason I eat granola. Like, this is the most satisfying thing to me, ever. I will break it apart though. Just a little bit. We want to maintain those clusters though. I'll take granola over a granola bar any day. That's just me. And did you see how easy it was to throw this together? You literally just combine both your wet and dry ingredients and you've got this super delicious, one pan, amazing granola. And look at this bake. It's so even, so golden and crispy. Okay, it's time for me to taste. I'm waiting to dig into this cluster this entire time. Lightly sweet from the maple syrup, not too sweet, so it's a perfect breakfast companion. Or honestly, you could eat this at any time of the day. You could even top ice cream with this. It's a really nice, crisp, golden layer on top of some vanilla ice cream. Sign me up. You know what? My dad loves this recipe. I make it for him all the time. I'll send him a picture so he can be a little bit jealous of me in it too. So he can remember my face. He knows what I look like. He's gonna be so jealous. So good. Speaking of my dad, this next recipe is inspired by him, something he used to make all the time. So I'm gonna go grab the ingredients and start popping some popcorn.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Now Tonight with Joshua Johnson, streaming weeknights at 8 on NBC News Now. The day's biggest political stories with trusted insight now and expert analysis now. A daily look at the politics behind the headlines. Meet the Press Now, streaming weekdays at 4 p.m. on NBC News Now.
Today is now a podcast, available every morning. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
To cover the news, you have to be in it. This is how so many towns and cities are protecting themselves. They're pushing the gates open. Was there a school officer on campus? That's what we've been told.
No. Top Story with Tom Llamas, weeknights at 7 on NBC News Now.
Mr. Secretary, when is this going to get better? You came into this job saying you were going to fight crime. Have you been successful? Found a way to put that. Can you update us on the status of negotiations?
These are our missing daughters and sons.
We need anyone who saw something to come forward.
She was wearing a black jacket, a black top.
I'm going to bring my son home alive.
Dateline Missing in America. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
These days, it feels like the news never stops. So let's get into it. What's happening right now, what it all means for you for an hour every day. It can be hard to keep up, so let's get started together.
Hallie Jackson Now, weekdays at 5 on NBC News Now.
This is a variation of a popcorn recipe that my dad used to make all the time. Poor guy. My mom, my sister, and I would always steal some before he could even have a single kernel, so I guess this is redemption for him. I'm going to show you how to make your popcorn really delicious, really flavorful with this spice-infused olive oil mixture. So I've already popped my popcorn, and now I'm just heating my pan on medium-low heat, and I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil. You can use your favorite spices here, but I'm going to use one of my favorites, which is some garam masala. This is a really common blend of Indian spices, and it's really delicious, really warming, creates a very savory flavor in this popcorn. I'm going to add this straight to my oil, along with some cayenne pepper. This is going to take it up a notch in the spice department because I like things very spicy. Finally, I'm going to add a little pinch of salt. And now all we're going to do is just stir our spices. Now the reason that we're heating the spices here in the oil is because nobody likes a raw spice. Raw spices are not cute to eat, so we want to cook the spices with the oil so they become fragrant, they become aromatic, and it just infuses a lot of flavor into your popcorn. I was so obsessed with popcorn in college, I'm pretty sure it's the only reason I made it through. I would just snack on it like all the time. Got me through my exams. Thank you, popcorn. It's done so much for me in my life. And you want to make sure you continue to stir your spices in with the oil so it doesn't burn. We're only doing this for about a minute or so until you smell that delicious aromatic spice smell. You don't want it to smell too raw. When you allow the garam masala to cook in this oil, you can really smell all of those individual spices, the cumin, the cloves, the coriander. It smells so fragrant. So my spices and my oil smells really aromatic. I've cooked it for about a minute. Now it's time to just drizzle it over my popcorn. Okay. There we go. I'm just gonna shake it up so everything is fully incorporated in here. Now I'm gonna drizzle it over my popcorn. It smells so good. Now I'm just going to toss it so that everything is well incorporated. This is just a really great way to make a flavor-infused popcorn so that you're not just going with the plain salt, you're not just going with the plain butter, there's a little something extra going on. Now that my spices are fully incorporated in my popcorn, I'm going to add a little bit of nutritional yeast. This adds a very cheesy and savory flavor to the popcorn without actually adding any cheese. mix that in a little bit. And then I'm gonna finish with a little pinch of salt. I have to show my dad that I made this. It's a little bit better than his. Don't tell him. I'm so mean. It smells so good. I seriously wish you could smell it. I cannot wait to dig in. So I'm just not gonna wait. I'm going to dig in. Oh, come on. Okay, this might be dramatic, but I don't think I can eat regular popcorn ever again. It's so good. And again, you can use your favorite spices here. You can even do a little salt and pepper, a little garlic powder. Really make it your own, but just know that I have a feeling you will not go back to regular salted popcorn. Butter? Who is she? It's so good. It's really good. You guys should try this. The next time you get a snack attack, all I have to say is just don't panic. Remain calm. Make these 3 recipes. They're so delicious and the best way to keep your days going. Whew. Hey guys, super busy, cooking up a storm, but I have something exciting to tell you. #cooking is back, so tune into Today All Day. Okay, I got some in the oven, I gotta go. See you later.
Good morning.